Go Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Y'all Mean of Revolution, and the Stockton mass shooting, the massacre where the children were killed, gang members laughing. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution? Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Well, this is very disgusting. I've been waiting to cover this. The gangbangers, they ain't stopped gang banging. They don't care if the kids die. Let's get right to the content. Salute.
Now. Nano used to be my brother, but he fuck with niggas. You chose your side, fucking suckers, you duck with niggas.
And Nano, that's my baby. You can call, there ain't no doubt.
Over Nano, I won't play it, niggas know it's that.
Gotta keep that fan club. Niggas really want me gone. Put a couple of B's on this shelf before I made a song.
Why do that? Why make that decision?
Them niggas dead. Thank God, you feel me? They say them names sometimes, but like, them niggas dead, so it wouldn't matter if I say them names or not say that names, because them niggas not here. So it's like, fuck them niggas. Just bleep them shits out. That's how.
Let them wonder.
Nah, because it's really fuck them niggas. So it's like, we show them niggas no respect. Sometimes we just bleep that shit out, but you know who we talking about.
Who is this? So you fly K23K or what?
Bro, niggas know what's up, bro. Niggas ain't gonna disrespectful shit. Niggas in your programming all, but niggas already know what's up, bro.
Okay, wait. So we gonna stop it one time. You a f***ing fly exterminator, but you ain't on no disrespectful shit.
Another head under my belt. It's a cold case. Nigga died with his kids. They had no faith.
Now, Stockton police are working to piece together what led up to a deadly shooting outside of a home.
A 26-year-old man was killed as two young children, just 5 and 6 years old, were inside the car.
Continues right now for the suspect in a deadly Stockton mass shooting. Good Sunday morning, and thank you for starting your day with us. I'm Austin Castro. Officials say it all happened inside a banquet hall in what is being described as a family gathering involving children.
If you in the streets, man, stop being around your kids. Stop being around the ones you love the most. It's not enough. You putting them at risk. You see, today we're going to Stockton, California. A place that's turning into a war zone as we speak. And what's making this situation even more heartbreaking is how far these street politics, quote unquote, are reaching. It's at the point now, 1 month until 2026, where grown men still so hungry for revenge, they don't even care if they put their own kids in the mix. You know, it's eye for eye, right? If I do it to you, I should expect you gonna do it to me. But you'll later find out in situations like taking somebody's life in front of their children, some people will tell you all bets are off the table. Because that's exactly what took place prior to this situation at a kid's birthday party. You see, within the last 24 hours, reports started buzzing that a local Stockton rapper, well-known and well-connected and already tied in a long-running beef, had his child's birthday party shot up. According to early reports, his opposition didn't just take advantage of that moment. They used it to try to end his life and take the life of his close friends who was right there with him. More well-known rappers from the same crew who we'll later identify. But let's just say, fam, this situation alone is bigger than just one shooting. See, here's the part that's really shaking the community. This ain't just affecting the rappers no more. It's the kids, the families, the people who have nothing to do with this beef. It's a trickle-down effect, and we watching it unravel in real time. Now, fam, earlier this year, we briefly went over a story regarding one of these rappers who got arrested for a murder 6 years later after doing an interview just 6 months prior, speaking on him and his crew, Public Beef. I'll leave the link in the bio so you guys can get caught up. But now, fast forward to Thanksgiving weekend, at this same rapper friend, daughter's birthday party, they get shot up, leaving 4 people deceased as of now and over 10 shot. Not to mention 2 of the 4 that lost their lives was kids. Now, I know that was a long intro, but I want to make sure y'all stay on point, fam. So today, we putting this in order, chronological order, that is. We breaking down who are these Stockton rappers, their affiliations, go over their gang RICO indictment, identify who child birthday party it was, his previous run-ins with the law, and who people online are already claiming behind it, keeping it factual and nothing extra. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. A lot of people don't realize this, but Filipinos has been active in North and SoCal all the way back since the 70s and 80s. Some well-known documented Filipino-affiliated groups include Son of Sama, SOS, Satanas, STN, Pointy Real, PR. So Stockton, California having a Filipino-based street crew is not unusual at all. What makes it stand out is the branding, the rap connections, and the modern era. But sad to say, their main enemies is not against their own race. It's against African Americans. And that's pretty much what we got here today as the layer for this story. You see, one of the groups that's some say connected is Flyboys. It's a Filipino Stockton set. Filipino members, younger Stockton blocks. They have some blacks. It's a Crip culture. Also have rappers who we'll later identify. You see, they not an organized gang in the old school structure. It's more a neighborhood crew with Filipino roots influenced heavily by Crip culture in Stockton. Flyboy members often online use blue colors, see references, Crip-style hand signals, and Crip-the-line Stockton sets. Now, some of these people also go by MB, which stands for Mud Brothers. It's another Stockton crew/name. From Filipino members, some Flyboy associates, rappers, videographers, and social media activity. And the overlap between Flyboys and MB, depending on blocks, family ties, school connections, friend groups. Not all MB, as mentioned, is Filipino, but a big chunk of MB's visibility came from Filipino or Pacific Islander youth, especially mid-2010s to now. And now we got that caught up. Let's speak on who rep these crews. Now, some say the most known outside of Stockton in that crew that rap is MB Nail, also known as Nelly, Nail MB. For years, the 49ers used his song as their theme song to warm up. It was a track titled In My City, released 7 years ago with over 12 million views. I ain't counting.
The niggas turning to scholars. I never went to college like how mama papa wanted. I promise that I'ma make it out. It's all
Back in October 2020, MB Nail was one of 33 individuals who was arrested for illegal activities of the Asian Boys, Muddy Boys Crips, Lil Ruthless Criminals, Comstock Crips, Loketown Crips, and Asian Crip criminal street gangs in the area of Stockton, California. According to Stockton police, the entire investigation seized 38 firearms, 40,000 in U.S. currency, 1 pound of suspected C, 5 pounds of suspected methamphetamine, approximately 13,000 of suspected ecstasy, and an abundance of marijuana, quote unquote. Now, MB Nail managed to escape this, and 2 years later, he spoke on this on No Jumper. And check out a segment.
Or do you want to get out of there because the cops are kind of on you?
It was a little bit of both. Like, after the little indictment shit, I was like, cool off that. Like, I didn't want no shit under my name and that. So,
right.
But I got 2 spots though.
Wait, what'd you get indicted for?
It was like a big ass gang sweep. So they just hit everybody. Everybody's phones was tapped. And they just had like a big ass investigation going. It was all type of shit. But
your phone was tapped?
Yeah, my phone was tapped for like 6 months, and everybody else, like everybody on their phones was tapped and everything.
Really?
And that wasn't even the first time. My phone been tapped a couple times.
Wow. And so they just arrest everybody, and then how's it go from there?
They hit your house, and what they do is they hope to find something or pull you over or whatever. See, luckily they ain't find shit at the house, like, cause I'm not stupid. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But they found a little like just pills, like little pills. That's it. And
they tried to give you a case for the pills or what?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay.
So that shit was easy.
But did a bunch of people get locked up in that?
Yeah, hella people got locked up just because they found I don't know what they found, whatever they found with the guns or from whoever else. But
Stockton's getting like tough on crime at this point, right? Because I've seen some shit on the news of just them talking about like little kids getting shot and shit like that, and how they're really getting serious about cracking down on crime.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be a big indictment coming, I feel.
Really?
Yeah, but I you feel me?
Right. Better just keep your nose clean. You didn't go. Did you like come to LA when you were growing up and shit?
Nuh-uh.
It's just too far away.
Yeah, but I'm so used to this drive now.
Right.
I like I was just out here the other day by myself. I drove to LA, drove back the same day, and I do that shit regular now. Just driving out here and shit.
Just to link with people, or what are you doing out here for the most part?
Yeah, link. Music videos, studios, and shit like that.
Now, during that time, they would also lose a close affiliate, a guy who went by Spaz to gun violence. And that's where a war had allegedly started between them and EBK and other affiliates. You see, during that time, EBK was cool with MB Nail's blood cousin, Nano, a man allegedly known for B's as he raps in his music. B's allegedly stands for bodies. And some say that explains why EBK J-Bo speak on allegedly being cool with Nano until he started messing with his cousin. And that's when the back and forth came, not only on disses, but in people's lives in the streets.
Nano used to be my brother, but he fuck with niggas. You chose your side, fuck with suckers, then you duck with niggas. And Nano, that's my baby, you can call, there ain't no doubt.
Over Nano, I won't play it, niggas know it's that.
Gotta keep that fan club. Niggas really want me gone. Put a couple B's on this shelf before I made a song. Name ho, wait up in my section, bitch, I'm big dog. Never been the type to white flag, bitch, I'm getting on.
You see what's crazy is Nano was the dad who hosted at this venue for his daughter party who got shot up. But before we go over those details, it's important to know this. The week Spaz died, a 26-year-old man identified as Tommy was shot and killed while he was in his car. In the back seat was his young children, 5 and 6. This happened on May 29, 2024. The children were not the primary targets, but the 6-year-old did sustain minor injuries from potential glass. Thank God they made it. It happened at around 10:20 p.m. on the 2400 block of Tilden Park Street. And the crazy part is, this murder went unsolved. But a guy who's now arrested, who we covered, as mentioned at the very beginning, I'll leave the link in the bio, he rapped about this after they was bragging on Spaz. That's EBK. He talked about taking his life and even knowing the kids was in the car. And like we said at the very beginning, once again, eye for an eye, right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if that's what you out here doing, expect that to happen to you too.
Name for 48, someone got stressed. Ain't no donkeys over there, cause we the ones who really step. Had to switch out from the singing. Guess the time I brought it out. And it's free, my brother Band's gonna hold it down till he get out. Hey, that's my brother, caught a half for the cause and I'm for the clout. And Nano, that's my baby, you can call, there ain't no. Y'all can't mention Spaz.
Now, Stockton police are working to piece together what led up to a deadly shooting outside of a home.
A 26-year-old man was killed as two young children, just 5 and 6 years old, were inside the car. KCRA3's Danica Hill spoke with concerned families as police are working to find the gunman.
That's really key for our investigations team to figure out why this homicide occurred. Trying to develop that motive, whether it was targeted or not, or gang-related or not.
Officers responding to reports of a shooting outside a home on Tilden Park Street near Houston Avenue just before 10:30 Wednesday night.
When officers arrived on scene, they located a 26-year-old male victim inside of a vehicle in the front area of the residence who had been struck multiple times by gunfire.
That man pronounced dead on the scene. 2 young children were also in the car, one taken to the hospital for minor injuries.
When children are involved, it definitely heightens everything. One of the victims was transported to an area hospital for minor injuries. It appears that it could have been maybe glass or shrapnel, and the other juvenile was fortunately not injured.
Candles, flowers, and other mementos now marking where the shooting happened, and the community on edge. Neighbors telling me they were too scared to go on camera, describing the sound of the gunfire to that of a war zone. Whenever something happens like this, especially a homicide, it doesn't just affect the victim and maybe that exact residence or house. That entire community is impacted. I did speak briefly with a family who told me they wanted to keep it a private matter. Right now, police have not released a suspect description and are pleading with the community to speak up.
Getting to the surveillance footages for the houses is crucial. And so we really lean on the community's help. Our detectives are out there knocking on doors, but if they weren't home or maybe were scared to answer the door, Stockton Crime Stoppers is a phenomenal way to help our investigators get to the bottom of these, to help the community feel safer.
And we know that the children that were involved in this are with family tonight. And as a reminder, Stockton Crime Stoppers is completely anonymous. If you have any information that could help lead to an arrest, you are asked to call Stockton Police. Here in Stockton, Danica Hill, KCRA 3 News.
Fast forward to the weekend of Thanksgiving. 4 were killed and 10 others were wounded in the shooting at a family party in Stockton, California, November 29, 2025, according to local police. Now, as mentioned, this was Nano's daughter's birthday party, and B. Nail was in attendance. Of course, Stacks locked up for a murder that took place 6 years prior, which is also the dude, as we just mentioned, who was rapping on killing the dude in front of his kids. Gunfire erupted inside a banquet hall in California's Central Valley. Several of the 14 victims, including children and adults, were taken to a local hospital. 4 have been confirmed deceased. Their identity wasn't released, but the ages was confirmed: 8, 14, 22, and 30. May all 4 rest in peace and love and condolences to their families. Stockton police say the early preliminary investigation showed this was a targeted hit. Of course, now it also has been rumored that rapper MB Nail was one of the 14 people who were struck by gunfire, and it was an alleged shootout that took place. As of now, that's pure speculation. But what we do know Hours later, the Fruittown neighborhood was seen with heavy police presence, which is also a neighborhood connected to EBK that has public tension with Flatboys and MB.
In a deadly Stockton mass shooting. Good Sunday morning, and thank you for starting your day with us. I'm Austin Castro. Officials say it all happened inside a banquet hall in what is being described as a family gathering involving children. ABC 10 has been following this breaking news story since it first happened. Now, this incident was taking place shortly after 6 yesterday evening on Lucille Avenue near Thornton Road, an area surrounded by businesses and homes. Investigators call it a targeted attack. The family event, a party ending with gunfire on Thanksgiving weekend. Now, this right here is video from the scene last night. Investigators say a suspect is still on the run right now, and so far, no description has been released. This is what San Joaquin County District Attorney Ron Freitas had to say.
It's our understanding at this time that the individual responsible is still outstanding. If you have any information as to this individual, reach out immediately. And if you are this individual, turn yourself in immediately.
On the shooting.
This is Thanksgiving weekend. This is when families come together, celebrate, share memories, give each other love. And unfortunately tonight, heaven is a little bigger with the individuals, children and adults that unfortunately do not make it.
In an emotional statement, Stockton Mayor Christina Fugazi offered her support to her community following a shooting at a banquet hall near Lucille Avenue Saturday night. San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Heather Brent sharing that 14 people were shot, 4 of them killed, including children.
It is unfathomable that there are young children who are harmed, that there was anybody who was harmed in this, and our hearts go out to those victims, to their families, and to our community. Do you have any further questions at this time?
Multiple agencies and city leaders are vowing to seek justice for the victims who were shot at a family gathering. District Attorney Ron Freitas calling the tragedy unthinkable and pleading with his community and asking the person responsible to turn themselves in.
When this individual is caught, you have my promise that you will have the full force of my office's resources in holding this individual fully accountable.
Mayor Fugazi also calling on her city to do better and speak up if they know anything.
Whoever did this, if you know them, as the district attorney just said, please call Crime Stoppers. You can leave an anonymous tip. We've got work to do, and this type of violence, again, our city is better than that.
ABC 10's Gabriel Porras was there just minutes after it all unfolded and has more information and reaction from locals.
Well, it was a very frantic and fluid scene in the minutes after the tragedy unfolded. It was here at this parking lot, this strip mall, where we're told some of the crowds first ran to try to get cover. There was so much adrenaline in the air, but the heartbreak was palpable in those first few minutes. We were on scene less than an hour after the tragedy unfolded, which means we saw those groups of responders, dozens of police cars, fire engines and ambulances, and most heartbreakingly, families and mothers sobbing, asking where their kids are. People who live near Thornton Road and Lucille Avenue say it all happened so fast.
That was a lot of gunfire.
At least 3 bursts of gunfire, Jason Amoson said, and after a fleet of first responders.
There was probably 10 to 12 ambulances, every fire truck, every police officer.
At first, he didn't know what had happened, but he saw, as we saw, on the cold concrete and under the dark sky, families breaking down into tears.
Afterwards, there was a lot of people that walked out, a lot, yelling for their kids and stuff like that.
Is really what's sticking with me and with so many here tonight. Those parents who just wanted to know where their kids were. Tragic to know that so many of them will never see their loved ones again. As many of you know, I was born and raised here in San Joaquin County. I've been to the strip mall several times just a couple weeks ago, actually, for lunch. I have friends who live in this neighborhood. They are all stunned. To say that this is heartbreaking is really an understatement. The grief and the shock is palpable in Stockton, and the city is shaken. In Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
And we know with such a large number of victims, several hospitals are involved with their care right now. ABC 10 reached out to hospitals in the area. We do know Dignity Health St. Joseph's Medical Center in Stockton received 3 patients as a result of the shooting. They tell us 2 adult patients are currently being cared for there, one of them undergoing surgery. They also tell us a 9-year-old patient also arrived at the emergency room and is said to be in fair condition. Meanwhile, Sutter Memorial Hospital in Modesto also confirming they have some shooting victims under their care.
As we head out of here, I'm gonna put it like this, plain and simple. The only people we should really show remorse to and feel sympathy for is these innocent kids and innocent bystanders. Holmes, if you're rapping about killing somebody in front of their kids, all bets off the table. I'm not saying it's right, but expect the same consequences to come to you. It's a very unfortunate situation. These kids gonna remember this for the rest of their lives. And I don't care what race you are, what culture you from, how old you are. Stockton, like any city, everybody get pulled into the same storm if that's what you're walking in. And in this case, you got Black, Filipino, Latino, Pacific Islander. It don't matter. Folks growing up on the same blocks, going to the same school, fighting the same fight. And before you know it, you got the whole Filipino crews repping Crip. That neighborhood raised them. But fam, this was the continued violence of a gruesome war in Stockton, California, who hosted a birthday party for his kid that turned into a full-blown shootout, leaving 14 people shot and 4 people deceased as of now. Love and condolences to everyone who's affected by the story we just talked about. Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And today, I'll catch you guys.
A group of despicable savages pulled up to a kid's birthday party where literal children were attending and having fun and partying, and they massacred, murdered, shot, and killed, left dead 3 children.
Any father remembers the day their child is born.
He was just like the perfect gift from God.
But this father, Patrick Peterson, is now burdened to live with the day his son died.
All I can see is my son crawling on the ground and me trying to resuscitate him.
At just 14, Amari Peterson took his last breath.
He had 1 bullet hole right above his heart.
Amari and his family, a few of the dozens on...
Now, this don't make no sense. Now, I feel RP, this young man lost his life 14-year-old, but this daddy must be out of his motherfucking mind. He said he took his son up there to meet them rappers. Y'all just seen in the first video who the motherfucking rappers was. You taking your son to meet some gang members that's wanted dead or alive that people will come shoot a birthday party up looking for. He got to take some responsibility on what happened to his son. He was never supposed to have his son. That is a 2-year-old birthday party. But you took him there to meet them goddamn thugs, and it cost him his life.
Saturday, who were just trying to celebrate the birthday of a 2-year-old.
I just heard gunshots, and then the shooter came in, and he came in. I turned my back and I looked at him, and then I just started seeing him shoot. Just sit down.
We don't have footage of the actual incident, but we do have footage of a nearby Ring camera. And I want you guys to really hear how many shots was let off at a child's birthday party by these savages. Now, there's rumors it's the Cambodians who did it. It's the work of the Cambodians. I'm not sure, right, who exactly did it. Right, that's not my job here. But we're going to document everything we know in this video. It would be horrific enough if this was a crossfire. But the father just said he's seen the shooter walk in and open fire. That means the person walked into a kid's birthday party knowing it was a kid's birthday party and still opened fire in a room of kids. There's no reforming this, bro. There's no talking to these people. There's no peace walk or peace treaty that can reform this, man. Eradication and incarceration is the only hope. The shooters came from this alleyway, I was told, and you could still see the kids' toys that are still in the alleyway. you got the unicorn, you got a little kid's basketball court. It's still there. And the stuff that's blurred out is the blood. It was a bloody scene, bruh. They ambushed the party from the back and the front, but it came through the alleyway to get to these two rappers, MB Nell on your left, Dougie on your right. Both these guys were shot, but they did survive. MB Nell on the left was shot in the leg, and then Dougie on the right was shot in the chest. They both survived. I don't even think they were in critical condition, to be honest, because they're both posting to social media as of now, so they're perfectly fine. But MB Nell was the main target, and we'll get into his story a little later in this video. The three kids that died were 8, 9, and 14, and a 21-year-old also lost their life. But while parents are grieving their kids losing their lives, their innocent children dying at the hands of gunfire by savages, you got more savages online celebrating the death of these children, celebrating the death of an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 14-year-old. They're literally online saying they condone this and want more of this.
Bro, and they're talking about they don't condone shit like that. You sound like a we condone all that shit. We condone it, but we didn't do it. So, nigga, oh, God, don't put that on us. Bro, we condone this shit, though, because niggas be shooting bad niggas with their kids and shit. I'm done giving all niggas passes. That's the old me. They blow in, catching with his family or smoking.
We're responsible for our own dismay. The only reason why gangbangers still feel comfortable murdering your children, murdering our children, and then hopping online and bragging about murdering our children and making songs about murdering our children and getting the attention and the reward for bragging about murdering our children is because we make it comfortable for them. We give them a safe space to do these things. You see, because we still operate under the delusion that we're all the same, that we're all brothers and sisters, when in fact we're not, bruh. Listen, Cain and Abel came from the same womb, lived in the same environment, had the same parents, ate the same foods. But Abel was God sent. Cain was the devil sent. They were from the same womb, but they were not brothers. These people are not your brothers, bro. These people are demonic. They are the devils. The gangbanger don't give a damn about you or your environment, bro. The only time the gangbanger is interested in peace is when he done gangbang for 20 plus years, done murdered all your children. Now all of a sudden he want to be the peacemaker, right? He want to be the peacekeeper. He want to be at the head of the table talking about peace and negotiation and saving the babies. Cut it out. These people are not our friends. They're not our brothers. They're not our sisters. They're not like us. They are devils. They are only in your environment to cause chaos. And the only reason why they're able to do so is because we allow them to do so. The hood, the inner cities, the urban environments belong to us. They're the minority, okay? Right now in Stockton, it shouldn't be safe for anybody to be able to claim they're a gangbanger. I don't care who did it. It shouldn't be safe for anybody to claim they are a gangbanger. You know what they do to their opposition? If their opposition murder one of them, you know what they do? They grab a stick and go and avenge and try to eradicate their opposition. So why are they allowed to kill our children? But yet we're still marching for peace. We're still holding press conferences talking about things need to change. It's time to say, no, things is perfect how they are. They gotta go. They're the ones that need to change. They gotta go. It shouldn't be safe right now to be a gangbanger in Stockton. Every civilian should be on that with these people. But the fact that we're not on that, right? But the fact that they operate under the assumption that they're the only ones who are willing to take a risk, and we soft.
Gang members, he ain't gonna do shit.
And the more we become soft, the more we keep being soft, they will keep killing our children. Now, apparently, right, the shooters who came to the birthday party, apparently they was targeting another rapper called MB Nell. Apparently this is a part of an ongoing gang issue in Stockton. The shooter walked in and opened fire. So I don't even know if there was a target, to be honest, but the police believe and people who was there believe that he was the target. Apparently this is a dude that there's been multiple attempts on his life. I think he told a story on Vlad TV earlier, like 2 years ago, where like they pulled up to his mama house and shot up his car 22 times while he was inside the vehicle. So this is obviously somebody who is running on borrowed time. It's only a matter of time until they get him. But him being at the kids' party apparently is why they was there in the first place.
It was after. I think it was after a show. I don't remember. It was after. I think I had a show, and I came back from the show. I came back from the show at like 4 a.m. to my mom's crib. I'm pulling in, and I always be on tip when I'm, you feel me, because all the shit that's going on. So I see a van pull in. I flip it. So I'm not facing on the street. I flip it and park it so that way my back of the car is facing it. Cause I already seen it coming. Like I had a gut in my feeling already. The van stopped, and then he just started clapping at the car. I'm inside the car, and all the nigga could do is just duck. So I'm ducking, and then dude shoot 22 times. They all hit the car. Against me one time. Niggas boo-boo. Niggas suck.
22 shots?
Yeah.
And you didn't get hit one time?
One time when I was in the car.
So the whole car was just Swiss cheesed up?
Swiss cheesed up. From front, back.
What kind of car?
Honda.
Honda what?
It was just Honda Civic.
Honda Civic?
He was the target. I believe he was one of the victims. He wasn't killed, but I think he was shot as well, if that's what I'm hearing from reports. I'm not entirely sure about that. But nonetheless, though, I don't consider him a victim, right? As a matter of fact, I think he played an equal role in those kids dying. I think for somebody to be chasing you all around town trying to murder you, you would have had to have done something bold enough or harsh enough or evil enough to where they would want to take you out for it. People just don't chase you around town trying to kill you for no reason, okay? I'm sorry. That's not how life works. And also, why was you at a kid's birthday party knowing people were trying to kill you? I'm sorry, bruh. I think there's no excuse for gangbangers to be around children. I don't care if it's their own children. They should not be around children at all. Would you invite a KKK member to a kid's birthday party? You wouldn't. So why are you inviting gangbangers? Would you invite Nazis to a kid's party? No, you wouldn't. So why are you inviting gangbangers? That's because in our society, in our communities, we treat gangbangers as if they're normal people. Like, we treat gangbangers as if they're just like street dudes. No, the average gangbanger isn't just a normal rough around the edge. No, they are an evil, mean-spirited devil. These are people that should not be around society at all. If it was up to me, if it was up to anybody with common sense, I think labeling yourself a gangbanger should be enough to where you gotta go. You gotta get incarcerated. You gotta get a rat. You gotta leave our community if you label yourself a gangbanger, from my perspective. Now, I was happy to hear that the FBI is apparently getting involved. Now, 3 children died. Now, a 21-year-old lost his life as well, but 3 children died. So, yes, I want the government to step in. Yes, I want the FBI to step in. Not only do I want them to step in for this, I want them to use this to wrap up a superseding indictment for every gang in Stockton, for every gang on the West Coast, and get them all off the streets. I don't care if that gangbanger is not committing a crime. Them just claiming a set off the streets. Sorry, you gotta go. And if you don't want to go, you gotta drop your flag, denounce your gang. To me, that's the only way out, bro. Because what exactly would arresting the savages who did this, what exactly would that do? You arrest them and leave more savages on the streets so they can kill more children? Get them off the streets, all of them. Kick them out. They're only 1% of our population, right? There's like 60 to 70 million Black people. There's about 1% of Black gangbangers. And that number is probably even less once you go to Hispanics and whites. These people are only 1%, but they're causing 99% of the problems. Why are we still being mandated to live among them? The mom who threw the party for her kid, she spoke to the public. Now, I don't know if she's the one who invited these gangbangers to the party. I'm not going to put it on her exactly because you know how it goes, bro. You throw a party, you invite your family invite their friends, the friends invite the friends, and then they all come. And then all of a sudden, you got a lot of people there who you don't know. So I'm not going to put it all on her, but I think there needs to be an audit. We need to find out who exactly invited those gangbangers, man. And we need to hold them accountable.
I threw a birthday party for my little daughter. She actually turned 2, and
I just wanted all my family to come together and be together as it be like an incident happened. Has me getting ready to start my baby, to start cutting her cake and stuff. Everybody's getting together around and just start cutting the cake, and all we heard was gunshots, and everybody just fell to the ground. It was just unexpected. I don't know what happened. I'm just so shocked and lost, and I'm lost of words. I'm speechless, and I just want to say I'm sorry to all the mothers out there that lost their kids at my birthday party. I don't even know what was going on. Everybody was inside. It was just a misunderstanding. Everybody was getting ready to cut the cake, like I said, and I actually thought it was my balloons popping. It was gunshots. So it's my daughter's niece. Both his nieces passed away. My sister actually got shot. My cousin got shot. My son's friend got shot. My 3 of my friends got shot. My friend's baby dad got shot and got killed. Yes, I work for the AAA Whole Life Center. I work with the youth. That's why it's really hurting me, because I see youth all day. I see kids all day. I'm a mother of 3. So for me to see kids on the floor and just bleeding and I can't help them, and I help people that I help the youth at my job, it was hurting me not to help them on the floor. Try not to be in public all the time with your kids, because anything can happen and bullet do not have a name. I believe that if you guys ever have a birthday party, just have a birthday party indoors and don't be outside.
The solution for
Don't have
kids not to be
gang members.
murdered isn't have birthday parties indoor. No, kids should be able to have parties wherever they want to have a party at. They should be able to have parties wherever. Outside, inside, wayside, upside down, wherever they want to party at, they should be able to have a party at their local park if they want to. Think about the nonsense we're dealing with. They're now saying, yo, the halls are too unsafe for our kids to have birthday parties at. But the parks, we were told, are also unsafe. So when we were having parties at the park, they was coming up and shooting up the parks. They told us the park's too unsafe for your kids to be. So now our kids had to leave the park and give it up to dirty, stinky, funky gangbangers who sit at the park all day, right, gangbang and politic and wear the same funky drawers they had on for 30 days straight, doing nothing but being unproductive, right? So they took over the park. Cool. We go to halls now to have birthday parties, and they shooting up and they killing our kids at the halls as well. At what point do it stop? At what point do you say, you know what, bro? Enough is enough, bro. Right? We're done making accommodations. We are done bending over. We're done. We're done being terrorized in our own city, bro. They're 1% of our population. Think about, there's 60 million Black folks. There's probably about 30 million in the inner city. There's probably about, another 10, maybe 15 million Hispanics in the inner city. Probably another 10 to 15 million white folks in the inner cities, right? So probably there's a population of about 50 million, right, of multicultural races in the inner cities, in the hoods. 1% of them are gangbangers. However, they create 90% of the obstacles. Think about it. Come on. That 1% is responsible for 40% of the murders and the crimes committed in the hood, in the inner cities. At what point do you say, bruh, it's a whole lot easier to combat, it's a whole lot easier to go to war with the 1% than it is to work with them. You cannot compromise with criminals. You cannot compromise with gangbangers. You cannot compromise with them, bruh. As a civilian, it's time for you to stop being passive, stop being calm. Stop thinking that, the government is going to step in and save you. We're all we got. At some point, we got to stand up and say, enough is enough, bro. Right? We don't need y'all for peace talks. We don't need y'all for peace treaty. We don't need y'all for anything other than getting y'all funky asses out of our communities. Y'all need to go. Right? Y'all need to go. The city of Los Angeles gave $42 million last year to gangbangers. You think I'm lying? Look it up. $42 million to gangbangers, the GRID program. $42 million. And you may ask, why did the city give them $42 million? They gave them $42 million so they don't kill us. Literally. Gang prevention is so they are giving gang bangers millions of dollars so we can be able to walk around our communities. Yo, there's gang bangers making millions of dollars every year to sit on trains so kids can go to school back and forth safely. How about we get rid of gang bangers so we don't need to pay y'all $40 million to make sure kids get to school safely? They're getting paid millions of dollars to make sure that if somebody dies, that their funeral concession can be able to drive through without being shot up. Why are we paying them millions of dollars not to shoot up funerals and caskets? Excuse me? Something needs to be done here. And if you're still optimistic and like you think there's enough socializing, psychologizing, analyzing, reforming that can be done to make gangbangers reform, then keep being optimistic. Me and people that I love and people who support me, we're not optimistic no more. Okay, I don't want to hear a gangbanger come on this internet talking about save the kids, cuz man, save the kids, blood. Man, positivity, loved one. Cut it out, bro. Shut up, man. Shut up. Right? Keep your positivity, loved one. Keep your man, it's the white man, cuz. They be messing with us, man. We don't got no choice but to be out here in these streets, cuz. Shut up. Shut up your mouth. We no longer want y'all to be a part of the solution. Just get out of our communities. Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think of this?
A few days since this terrifying mass shooting in Stockton, and there's more and more information coming out by the minute, okay? I'm keeping you guys updated. I'm committed to bringing you updates on this every single day, and it sounds like we have got some very big updates today. We've got some updates from some of the victims, a terrifying statement from another one of the attendees who was actually there, and one of the alleged targets of this hit that killed 4 people is actually speaking out from behind bars after being arrested for being there at the scene at this kid's birthday party where allegedly over 100 people were in attendance, many of them alleged to be gang members. And basically, they've locked up anybody that was even near that party, okay? They're saying probation violation, you're around gang members, this is not cool. Anybody that has anything to do with this, whether you're on the shooter side, whether you're on the victim side, the feds are involved and they're cracking down, okay? I've got a whole bunch of updates for you, and I'm just going to break it all down for you today. Now, the first thing that I'm going to get into, okay, this is just... It's so sad to see that the cycle is just continuing from this point, because despite the heavy police presence and the citywide grief that's been going on in Stockton, gang members are apparently still sliding in the streets, and 2 more people have already been shot in a drive-by. Now, it's unclear if this incident is related, but at the same time, it really wouldn't surprise me if this was related, because it's just out of control. And I know the feds are on top of things in Stockton, but basically, it seems like they still haven't got a handle of the situation, okay? So let's take a look at this situation, and then we'll look at some of the comments and just see what people are saying about the latest shooting. This is another drive-by shooting. 2 people have been hit, but it sounds like there aren't any lives lost in this situation, thank God. Let's see.
More gun violence tonight in Stockton, where sheriff's deputies are at the scene of a double shooting. This shooting happening just days after 4 young people were killed at a child's birthday party over the weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Andrea Flores.
I'm Golston Dart. While police are not connecting these shootings, it is more violence for a city that has just been rocked by violence lately. The shooting happening just after 7 o'clock near Gertrude Avenue and Horner Avenue. Let's go to Andres Valle, who's at the scene of this latest shooting. Andres.
Yeah, so guys, again, this shooting happened right around 7 p.m. here. We're sitting right in front of where all of this went down. As you can see, there's investigators on the scene currently, and we've seen those evidence markers as well. I was talking to a couple of those neighbors off camera about maybe 30 minutes ago about what they heard and they saw. They said that they heard about 10 gunshots at least rang through this neighborhood here on Gertrude. Again, we're pretty close to Franklin High School as well. And we also got reports to a soccer game that was playing right when this shooting happened. And they said that they heard roughly maybe 10 to potentially 20 gunshots, but that didn't stop them from finishing their soccer match tonight. We also spoke to another.
It's so chilling to hear that, because it's like we're talking about kids' parties being shot up. Now we're hearing about soccer games going on, and it seems like the violence in Stockton is getting so normalized. They're not even stopping their game. 20 gunshots are ringing out. People aren't even stopping their game of their soccer game. Like, when is this going to end? This is not normal, man. And so you got people in the comments basically saying lately there's been a shooting in Stockton every day since the late 80s. People saying, I guess everyone in Stockton is going online with Christmas shopping. It's too dangerous to be outside. This person, needless to say, my next vacation will not be in Stockton, okay? Gang violence, gang related, this is what's happening, okay? People are saying the moral of the story, the soccer game is very important. Some people think it's birthday payback, okay? I don't know if we can say that for sure, but just like that first shooting that unfortunately claimed 4 lives, it hasn't taken long, and apparently, okay, more information is emerging about this second shooting that's happening, and once again, a terrifying new audio recording that captures the full audio of the shots being fired, start to finish, has now basically emerged, and it's just chilling to hear. So that actually is audio from the deadly mass shooting that took place on the 29th of November. I thought for a second that might have been the second shooting, but that's the original one. And what's weird is this actually sounds kind of different to that audio that we heard the other day. It didn't sound like there were that many shots fired. Maybe that was only a small part of the recording, but this one, I'm going to play it again. This one, it sounds like a lot of shots being fired. There's a barrage of bullets, and it does sound like maybe there's almost like a very slight pause in there, and the gunfire continued. Let's hear it again. So it sounds to me like there's one shot and then a pause and then a whole bunch of shots, then another pause, and then some more shots. Now, it's unclear if these are all shots being fired at the victims or if this is actually some shots being fired at the victims, some people returning fire. That first shot is very eerie. If you notice the gap in time between that first shot and then the barrage of what sounds like just a dozen plus bullets afterwards, like that's really creepy. The way there's one shot, there was probably a lot of confusion, and then it just keeps on going. It's just messed up, man. It's actually crazy. It's so sad. So we've got more firsthand accounts of people that were actually there or close to the shooting. Okay, this is another attendee who actually recorded the first few gunshots inside the venue, and she basically discusses the news coverage and the poor police response to the incident after it happened. Okay, this is really sad. And shout out to Seti Nash for covering this clip too. He's been doing great reporting on this. Shout out my guy, Seti, man. That's my guy.
Let's dig deeper into the story, because a lady came out and she said something very perplexing about the whole entire situation. And let me tell you, she said the news got it all wrong.
Okay, so I don't really come on the internet, but this mass shooting shit in Stockton has really got me so first of all, being invited there, I mean, it was a wonderful party, but I just don't feel like the news is just being honest, being in there and not knowing whether you gonna make it out. And here's the thing, like, you know, you're having a gathering, you had a couple of drinks and stuff, so you don't really process what's going on, okay? So shots rang out, At first, you think it's like balloons or whatever. And then all of a sudden, you realize the second round of shots that's coming in, these ain't no normal guns. Like, they in here lighting shit. And it was an open, like, banquet hall. So there is nowhere to run. There is nowhere to hide. You don't know whether you... And I remember thinking that, like, we ain't gonna make it out to this motherfucker. My kids, like, bro, there was so many.
It's so sad to hear her just giving this account of the story, because like you can tell that, like, you know, even though she's lucky enough not to have been hurt by this incident, like she's going to be suffering a lifetime of trauma. Like just even reliving this and telling this story on the internet, like you can tell she's going through it right now, man. And it's just so sad to see.
Everybody, bro, the news is not being honest. They're not being honest. It was the kids for me. It was the kids. My daughter was doing CPR on that little boy who died. She said his dad kept asking, is he gone? I couldn't even imagine not coming back home with my mom. Like, I've never seen so many dead bodies, lifeless bodies. I don't know. I know for a fact it's like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old girl, and she was lifeless. I ain't hear the news say nothing about that. I was with my daughter tie up people's legs. Damn, he was shot in the legs. There was another dead body on the back porch, and he was all twisted up. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere. And like when it was going on, like I remember I was thinking smart, thinking, well, where would you stand, and where would you, be? Because you couldn't tell if they was in the building shooting or what. It was all you knew is that these was not some ordinary ass guns. It wasn't. And so
she's saying these weren't some ordinary ass guns, right? She's saying, now what's weird is it's like that, I ain't gonna lie, the audio recording of the shots being fired, it didn't sound like automatic gunfire. It sounded like, I don't know what you call it, not automatic gunfire, basically. Okay, like I don't know, it's sequential shots being fired. That first shot individual, it didn't sound like a switch. It didn't sound like all this stuff that you be hearing the Chicago rappers ad-libbing. It sounded like somebody was taking shots, individual shots at that crowd one by one, and there were gaps in between the shots. And what's really weird is you hear that first shot being fired, and then there's a pause. You hear the engine rev. It sounds like obviously it's a drive-by, but it sounds like the car's almost, it's like someone fired a shot from a distance to scatter everybody, then they hit the gas and then shot at speed as everybody scattered. Like, I don't know exactly how it went down, but as she's saying that wasn't no ordinary guns. I feel like she's saying maybe there was some kind of high-powered rifles, not pistols. I don't know. Okay, look, I'm not from the USA. I don't know the gun culture like you guys be knowing them, but clearly this is somebody from the United States, from the community, who is saying these were not some ordinary guns used in the incident.
I don't know. I just remember helping get people to the ambulance, but this is, of course, after it was over, while it was going on. You did not know. My biggest thing right now is picturing if it would have been, not questioning God, but why he's spared me and my children. Because the bullets, they ain't got no name on them. And it could have been anybody. And I was swimming in blood. And then I looked down, I was like, is this beans or blood? It was both. And I think, after sobering up and then waking up this morning, just realizing that my babies are still here. Like, I don't even care about myself, but my babies are still here. But then the agony of the people who went to the party and they didn't make it out. Like, Brian does not mean to get on no internet, but I'm telling you, this shit is crazy. I gotta imagine even if it was me or if I was holding one of my babies, it would have been helping me. It would have been, because people were just walking by trying to find their loved ones, you couldn't find nobody, and there was just bodies all over the floor. Bodies. I'm telling y'all, the news is not. I don't know if they have to protect things or they can't release certain information, or they just don't know because nobody would talk to the police. Nobody said, and I get it. I guess the politics or whatever, which I don't know.
So she's saying nobody would talk to the police, right? And what's interesting, obviously, she's very emotional and she's going through it, and clearly she's been emotionally affected by this. I don't want to take anything away from her personal account of this situation because it is so sad, and she's going to be really suffering from some trauma. But I think it's interesting, right, the way that she's kind of saying, like, oh, the news, they're not really reporting on this. I don't feel like the news even are aware of the state of things. I mean, they're reporting on it from kind of an aftermath, the police and investigation standpoint. But like, this is why this is so important that we have people like Sedi Nash reporting on these things, and we have people like this who actually were involved and were there, who are putting their accounts on social media. For everybody that says, oh, social media reporters, oh, you leave it to the real news, you're doing it. Look, this is so important to get this information out there, okay? Sadie Nash is doing a great job by putting this out there and broadcasting this and amplifying her voice. She's saying the news media are not talking about how effed up this situation was, okay? That's why people like Sadie and me, we're going to try and amplify these voices and let people know this is really what was going down that day. And this is not cool. It's not okay. And I think the authorities, they will get to the bottom of this eventually. Okay, they will want to hear these first-hand accounts of how bad that situation was. But I just really feel this woman's pain.
Know nothing about. I don't want to know nothing about. I'm not slow to the hood shit, but I don't live that lifestyle either.
But that's what she said, right? She was basically saying that nobody that was at the party, and they're saying that the party was, unfortunately, despite being a 2-year-old's birthday party, there was over 100 attendees, and a lot of people were gang affiliated. Obviously, a lot of these folks that are gang affiliated, they're not going to talk to the police. For you to have 3 children dead, four people lost their lives, like how are the police coming and saying you didn't see anything? And I feel like this woman is so brave for putting her account of this story out there, because the police are going to be getting a wall of silence from these alleged gang members. They're not willing to say what went down, but this is so important. She's letting people know just how bad this was. Now, she's not pointing anybody out. She's not saying who was responsible. There will be some of that going on. You best believe if there's 150 people at this party, and yes, some of them are gang affiliated, some people are going to want to talk to the police, and they will get to the bottom of this.
I just thought we were supporting a birthday party, but it was kids. That's what's funny. It was kids. They didn't make it out. It wasn't adults. I can't unsee the flesh, the bullet wounds, the body. I can't. And it took the police so long to get there, the fucking ambulance so long to get there. They did not come to like 30, 45 minutes later. So they were doomed. And my daughter was in there giving CPR and all. Like, she saved lives. She saved so many lives. I don't know, y'all. It was crazy. But from the inside, it was the worst feeling in the world. And I know if you're going to make it out, I don't even think I had time to panic, but I'm so sorry for all the lost souls, the kids, the parents that were probably up all crying. They ain't got no sleep. You don't ever see your kids again. My kids are traumatized. I'm traumatized. They said they don't ever want to go to a birthday party again. I just...
So sad. Now, in spite of, some people, and, I'm so grateful for that harrowing account of the incident, I feel like that needs to be put out there. She said that, she feels like the authorities weren't necessarily asking or looking into or even finding out or knowing just how serious things were at that incident. But what we do know is that now all 4 of the victims who lost their lives have been identified. And as you can see, these are just kids, man. It's just so sad. I believe the oldest individual was 21, but come on, man. Like, this is someone with their whole life ahead of them. I mean, it's not quite the same as the children, but it breaks your heart. Okay. 2 little girls, 2 young men losing their lives way, way before their time, man. And, the news have identified them now. We're beginning to know a little bit more about just these heartbreaking stories and the families just shattered by this. We did touch on in the previous update that I did on this, Amari Peterson and his father and what he was going through. He had a lot of strength to get onto the news and give his account of what went down and talk about the grief that he was dealing with. But like now we've learned all 4 of the victims' names, and it's been named publicly by the news.
Tonight, we are learning more information about the 4 young people killed in that mass shooting, starting with Maya Lupian. She was 8 years old. She was a 3rd grader at an Aspire Apex Academy. The school shared a statement from her family saying that Maya loved to dance, sing, and draw. She was a purple belt in karate and loved being active. She excelled in school, and she loved her extracurricular activities.
A GoFundMe has identified the 8-year-old as Journey Rose Rio Tutar Guerrero. She's described as kind and playful. Journey Rose was in the 3rd grade and loved to tell her family about what she learned every day.
Family and friends have identified the 21-year-old as Susano Archuleta. Susano was at the party with his girlfriend. His family was told that Susano protected children and his girlfriend when the shooting broke out, putting them in a closet to hide.
I mean, it's heroic to hear that. And, there's been a lot of hate for some of the victims that I've seen online. People saying, that it was gang members, it was a gang party, they shouldn't have had 100 gang members around children. But that's not necessarily the case for everybody there. And nobody wanted this to happen. And, you're hearing the story about Susano, essentially looking out for the people around him and trying to save the people around him and trying to protect the people around him. We don't know exactly how the sequence of events went down, but clearly, he may well have laid his life down on the line to protect those people around him. And it's just so sad that this is a situation where that's even a decision that's having to be made, man. It breaks my heart.
And Amari Peterson was 14 years old. A GoFundMe page created by the family remembers Amari as bright and loved. He played football and basketball and was planning to go to college. Cecil Hannibal spoke with Amari's basketball coach tonight.
He left everything on the court. He wanted to make his dad really proud.
Amari Peterson, a 14-year-old with a passion to win on the court and in the classroom.
He was good in school, straight A student. He didn't talk back. Just honestly, just a genuine overall, just a really, just a good kid.
A good kid who lost his life in Saturday's mass shooting at a children's birthday party in Stockton. Brent Bonet.
It's just heartbreaking to see, man. It just kills me to see, man. People saying this world is full of evil. Jesus, we need you. Rest in peace to these 4 victims, and my sincerest condolences and prayers to the families. People saying when the law is too lenient, there is no protection for innocent citizens and no deterrence to speak of. It takes decades to execute a criminal. These gangsters aren't scared of the law, and they don't think twice to kill you. It's very sad, man, but there's some truth to those statements, man. And it's whatever protection should have been in place for society for this to not happen was lacking that night, and it's so sad. Now, I'm going to touch on some other things now. As discussed earlier, the rappers and alleged gang members at the party, you've heard in my previous videos, some of these famous names that are affiliated with different sets in Stockton perhaps are the reason why this was targeted. The names MB Nell, MB Nano, Flyboy Dougie Threes, who were all tied to Crip sets from South and Southwest Stockton. Now, the alleged shooters, however, they're believed to be from the Lewis Park Bloods in West Stockton, and they're allies with EBK, which is obviously EBK J-Bo's crew, very famously. Now, what's really crazy is that Dougie Threes, a rumored target of the shooting, who is now jailed for violating his probation for being around the gang members at this event where allegedly 100 people were in attendance and some were gang members, he has now spoken out from jail about his experience during the shooting. And as we heard from that woman earlier who gave her first-hand account of what went down, you got to give it, you got to show respect to even have the strength and the confidence to even be able to open up about this and be honest about, what went down. And at least he's trying to set the record straight. So let's hear what you had to say.
And tonight, we're now hearing from a man who attended that party and witnessed the shooting. He, along with another man, were arrested for parole violations.
To be very clear, they are not considered suspects in the mass shooting. But 25-year-old Billy Williams claims that some social media posts blame him for what happened, saying he was one of the targets. He tells us he actually tried to help the victims.
They should know that I would die for those kids. I ran in front of everybody for those kids. I picked all those kids up. I brought them to the front yard. The little boy, Amari, that little girl. I carried all of them to the front, and I don't understand where they get it all.
So he's basically saying that, look, he tried his best to save people. He picked people up. He tried to carry them to the front. Okay, they're basically saying, look, his name's being dragged through the mud. He's saying they should know he was willing to die for those kids. He ran in front of everybody. He tried his best. He basically did everything he could to try and save people. Okay, and it's unfortunate because obviously I think a lot of people are really just focusing on the gang membership and basically just this idea that they're all at fault. They're the ones that attracted the bullets for these incidents. But realistically, as a gang member, you're probably someone that's a lot more fearless, that's willing to jump in front of those bullets. Now, whether or not you're the reason those bullets are flying in the first place is another question. But at the end of the day, I don't even know. I'm actually conflicted, man. You guys are going to have to let me know. Because on the one hand, it's like, are these the protectors that you actually need, or are they bringing these problems to the community? I really don't know, but even him saying this, clearly this has affected him, and he doesn't want to feel like he's the reason these people got hurt. And he's trying to say, look, I did everything that I could to try and actually help everybody in that situation, and it's basically not. It's basically just not. It's not right. Like, he wants to get some, I don't know if respect is the right word, but he basically wants to get some.
Any kid he picked up, he used them as a motherfucking human shield. That's why he didn't get hit in his chest. Them kids got hit in the chest, all over. And with him and the other punk got hit in the foot, the thigh. They was holding them kids as human shields, a little bitch ass nigga.
Some props, and he wants to set the record straight to basically say, like, I tried my best to help in that situation. All right. He can't do anything, can't go back in time and change that situation. But he's saying that he tried his best to help people out. And Now he's locked up.
From or whatever they heard about me. No matter what I said in the song, no matter what I ever said, I never wanted to harm no. I never wanted to see nothing happen to kids.
He lying. He was.
So he's saying, he's referencing some of these earlier lyrics and these back and forths
that they stepped
on. He's basically saying, look, no matter what I said in a song, I never wanted to see nothing happen to no kids.
Tonight, we are learning more information about the 4 young people killed in that mass shooting, starting with Maya Lupian. She was 8 years old. She was a 3rd grader at an Aspire Apex Academy. The school shared a statement from her family saying that Maya loved...
So I believe we did see this in the last reporting, right? So I won't play that again. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to just hear him talking from behind bars. To be honest, that's very rare. I don't think you very often hear about situations where guys are getting locked up after these mass shootings and they're managing to speak to the news on a jail call so quickly afterwards. But clearly this is such a heinous incident that they really clearly, like, they want to set the record straight. They don't want everybody thinking that they're responsible and they're now, you know, part of what's going on and they brought this on themselves. Now, there's some interesting comments under this one. People saying, well, I understand that this is a gang-related targeted shooting. I would like to offer my condolences to the innocent folks and condemn those who got their family members killed. They're kind of casting judgment on the gang members. It says this situation is horrible, flat out, but you newsheads just keep babbling the same narrative and misleading regular people who don't know any better. Stop acting like this is so unusual. The very young kids is terrible, and that is unusual, but kids 12 and up die regularly by participating in gang activity, and you don't report on that. The 21-year-old, this is a crazy... I'm going to keep reading it. This seems good. The 21-year-old, the aunt says of him, he was a good kid and he went on to the celebration for a friend of his. It was his friend's daughter, I believe. He was arrested on the 24th of August and charged with possession of a machine gun, no less. See below for the rest of his charges. The guy in jail, Billy Williams, he's a gang member too. He is the birthday girl's uncle. The birthday girl's mum, she said all the right things, but she's no angel. She has a rap sheet a mile long, including prostitution, robbery, burglary, and theft, with charges in many counties of Central and Northern California. This kind of thing is not foreign to these folks, but they're going to play it up. Did you see the GoFundMe accounts already popping up? All the people who watch the news will go give to them, because this is so horrible. No one would have ever expected it. Apparently, not otherwise, they would have had security on the door and all over that place. There are interviews with the father of the birthday girl, and he's surrounded by security. He said he doesn't go anywhere without security. So why no security at this party where there were so many gang members and criminals mixing with old people and kids? There is no way on earth that anyone at that party didn't know who they were in the vicinity of. No effing way. So stop with the BS, news people. If regular people don't understand the right problem is not going to get fixed. Everything I wrote here is publicly available online. What happened to investigative reporting and news organizations who wanted to bring the truth out? Kids aren't going to stop dying until you stop lying. That comment is actually insane, but it's like, I ain't going to lie. They're spitting. People are saying, damn, that was my kind of reaction when I saw the mum all tatted up on the neck. But of course, you don't want to generalize right away, at least in social media. Some people are saying, ban guns, repeal the Second Amendment. I don't know if that is the problem, all right? So tired of the BS reporting on this. Not gang-related, stupidity. People are saying gang culture is so ingrained in our society in Stockton, California. Look at the mother of the 2-year-old. She works with kids and she's a gang member. The Stockton activist, the woman who got shot at the party, that Cisano guy, the 21-year-old victim, he's the famous boxer Flores' cousin. We need help out here and call it what it is. Gang shooting. Saying this is why you never hang out with gangbangers, even if they're family members. Sad. It is really sad, honestly. It is really sad. I don't want to dunk on anybody too much more, okay? But it is, at the end of the day, it is just a crazy incident. Now, shout out to Renegade Media, who's been doing some really great reporting around this situation, okay? He's super tapped in. You should go and subscribe to him if you haven't already. He has been reporting on some of the early chatter on the internet, and he is actually talking about some people essentially pointing the finger at a certain EBK member and certain people affiliated with that set that you know from J-Bo and them, of being involved in the shooting. And he's going to point out some pretty crazy stuff in this long video, okay? Check this. This is actually going to just blow your mind, everything in this video, okay? So let's run through it.
Hey, y'all want to see something that's crazy? This was one of the rappers that was a primary target along with MB Nell in the Stockton shooting that hurt 19 people and 4 people lost their lives. We're talking about kids that lost their lives. On the 209 Times Instagram page, they posted the kid. But then I looked at Dougie Threes, one of the individuals that was a target at that party. He made this post. And the caption says, I'm sorry. What are you really sorry about, though? Just because you knew the kid and you feel responsible for what you've done and what you instigated and all the enemies and the ops that you created for yourself, and they retaliated and people got hurt, but you didn't?
It's a pretty pointed video. I'm not going to lie. And the way he's saying you're sorry, what are you specifically sorry for? You're posting the GoFundMe of the victim. Why are you sorry specifically? Yeah, they're saying that he might have been the intended target of the incident. So perhaps him and the beef that he had going on is the reason that this went down. But Renegade Media is pointing out, he's saying, why are you so specifically sorry? And he's going to give some more background.
Because I don't hear you apologizing in this video right here.
Oh, got a Glock on me. Put a button on it. Set a fire, still a dead nigga. Why they going live? How you want me dead? Tell them niggas come and pull up. Really paying me. Should have died. Should have thought about it before you made it seem. Should have thought about it thinking what it's tired.
This Stockton gang rapper has been making a lot of songs, has been disrespecting a lot of dead enemies, dead ops, making fun of dead people, talking about street wars and gang wars where lives were took.
So he's saying that this guy was jumping on songs, dissing dead people, talking about the war, making fun of people who had been murdered. And then that may be as a, that's a butterfly effect that's essentially led to certain things happening all leading up to this moment. And maybe that's why he's saying he's sorry.
I don't see you being apologetic in those videos. See, you're apologizing on the basis that you know your actions and your lifestyle led to that incident that happened in Stockton. You can't expect people to accept your apology when a mother, and I send my condolences to her, has to grieve for her baby. And another mother and another father have to grieve for an 8-year-old baby as well. These are the consequences of you rappers' actions when y'all want to sit there and make diss tracks and diss songs and talk about dead people and really spill street business in lyrics about who killed who and you're glad that person's dead. I think it's a little too late to be apologetic. But before I end this video, I want to show you this right here. This is a gang member out of Stockton named Smirk. A lot of people say he's part of the EBK camp. All you got to do is just read the comment section. Now he turned the comments off after things got out of control and a lot of people were making accusations. But yeah, they're basically blaming this crew that they were the ones responsible. Things are starting to get heated because a lot more people are starting to speak.
Killing kids, what part of the game is that? A bunch of females there too, you're definitely going to jail. They're saying he EBK. If it turns out that EBK was actually responsible, and it was a little bit suspicious that a bunch of EBK members from jail were talking about, we don't condone this, you're overly not condoning something that like we might not have even thought you were involved. Now, I'm not saying that they're involved, but you're seeing these comments.
Speak up, pay attention.
Saying you spanked that guy, huh? From Fly.
And like I said in my last video, if you're from these Stockton gangs, you're part of these Stockton rap groups that instigate these kind of
people saying, you done effed up, right?
Warfares. Just because the people that did it are going to be held responsible and face court and face the law, I'm still holding every gangster rapper and every gangster out of Stockton accountable because all of you are indulging in the same criminal behavior, the same gang warfares that mean nothing, and you guys are getting innocent people killed now. It's reached that level to that extent. That's why so many people are voicing their opinions, speaking out loud, and posting, you guys. A mother that's grieving her child deserves way more than just an apology.
It's so sad, man, but he's making a good point, man. Shout out to, hey, Renegade Media, he really a renegade out here. I ain't gonna lie, he really putting it out there like that. Now, in kind of unrelated news, but it is sort of related. I feel like this is a little bit opportunistic, but at the same time, it's positive, so we can't hate on it, okay? Burna Boy, who was recently scrutinized and dragged through the mud, basically, for mistreating his fans and sending one of his fans that was suffering a tragedy, kicking them out of the show for essentially being asleep at the show. Okay, they're actually saying that Burna Boy is now offering to pay the funeral expenses for families affected by this tragedy. And this was posted by Jason Lee, and he's basically somebody that's kind of in the Hollywood reporting. See, I think he runs Hollywood Unlocked, right? It says, what happened to Amari and the other young lives taken this weekend has shaken me in a way that's hard to put into words. As someone who was shot in this city, as someone who stood over my own brother after he was murdered, I know this pain. I know the trauma these families are waking up with every single day now, and I know how moments like this can change you forever. When Amari's mother showed me his pictures, shared his scripture, and told me about his 3.8 GPA and his dreams, I saw myself as a young kid in Stockton, a kid full of potential, a kid with faith, a kid trying to rise above circumstances that he didn't choose. Amari deserved a full life. All of these children did. After the Breakfast Club shared his story, it caught the attention of WAC 100, who reached out and connected me with Burna Boy. Burna didn't know these families, but when he heard what happened, he stepped up with compassion and offered to cover the funeral costs for all of the kids lost. That kind of love and generosity matters. It won't erase the tragedy, but it gives these families one less burden to carry while they're facing the unimaginable. So to WAC and Burna Boy, thank you. Thank you for standing with our community. Thank you for honoring these young lives. And thank you for reminding Stockton that even in our darkest moments, people are willing to show up. Stockton, we have to do better for our kids. We have to honor Amari and every child we've buried by fighting with everything in us to make this city safer, more loving, and more protective of our youth. They deserve better, and we must be better. Justice for Amari, Stockton strong, end gun violence. Massive shout out to WAC 100, and he did actually respond to it. Said, saddens my heart to see and hear this. Condolences to the family and extreme gratitude for Jason Lee for the friendship. To Burner Boy, you are one of a kind to know and have it in your heart to help the families out. Your helping hand won't go unnoticed. May the Creator continue to bless you, man. Shout out to WAC 100 for making that happen, man. Look, this situation is just so sad. I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we might start to soon see maybe some ideas of who might have been responsible for this. Now, this Renegade Media video, okay, this was interesting. He's putting forward different theories. He's saying that, you know, the EBK members, they're taking their pages private. They're turning the comments off, okay? He said in his song Pull Up, and they did, right? Saying some of the songs mention something. They don't care if they're enemies with their kids. They dust them off too. Something might have happened to make someone angry enough to do this type of stuff without the concerns for innocent lives. People saying he knows who got touched. That's why he ain't safe. People are saying his music's garbage. But I don't know. Look, I'm not pointing the finger. Okay, people are saying shut up. The kids function though. No matter who their kids, who they're the kids though. Streets are crazy. Ain't no more big homies and rules. People are saying they'll get their issues. Believe that. Right? It's going to catch up with them when there's kids involved and they messed up bad. I feel for the family and them kids, his time coming. So look, we don't know if that particular individual is the person responsible, but no doubt the FBI are on the case. The local authorities are on the case. Okay. Everybody is doing everything they can to solve this situation and try and get resolution, try and get justice. So I will keep you guys updated. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. And like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. With that being said, man, I had some videos that I was going to do. And over the weekend, this occurred. 19 people shot, 4 lost their lives. And all this stems from gang wars and rap beefs. Yeah, Stockton's gotten that serious and that careless and that ignorant to where an 8-year-old little girl died. And the father doesn't have a lot to do with it, but because of the lifestyle has a lot to do with it. So there's going to be a lot of information that I break down the best that I've gathered. And let's get right into the video. Going there talking
about they don't condone shit like that. You sound like a bitch. We condone all that shit. We condone it, but we didn't do it. So, nigga, oh God, don't put that on us.
Now, first and foremost, my condolences to the kids that lost their lives in a gang war and a gang shooting that took place at a Stockton children's party. 8-year-old, 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 21-year-old, so far from what I read. The intended targets in this particular video they were hit. Some of them were hit, but didn't die. It was just kids. And that's why I dropped the video that I did on my other social medias, blaming every Stockton rapper for their lyrics and their lyricism and their gang instigations that they do on their Instagrams and on their lives, and how these other gang blogs just pay attention to the narrative and continuously recycle it and recirculate the information to continue the gang wars. These gang wars are serious. And bloggers that share this gang wars and share their posts, oh, this is what he said. Well, this is how he said. This was his response. Y'all adding fuel to the fire, and these gang wars are getting that much more extreme because now they could just see it from a blog and it take offense to when a blog posts it as opposed to watching their enemy's stories. What kind of life is that being a gang member, posting on an Instagram, and then you go look at your enemy's Instagram for a response? Y'all just can't just call each other on the phone. Hey, if it's really that serious, meet me right here, bro. Challenge you to a duel. You know what I mean? Throw the glove down on the ground. Nah, they go forever disrespecting each other on the Instagram post. And then they make music videos about it. And then they drop subliminal disses in a lot of these music videos about the gang wars, dissing one another. What's crazy is there's a lot of loose alliances that take place. From what I've gathered so far, even though 4 people got arrested in Lewis Park Blood area in their neighborhood, 4 people, it was like an adult woman and like an adult young teenager and like 2 kids and a white vehicle that they used for the drive-by. They're all conspiracy charges as of now. But, you know, everybody was jumping to conclusions like it had to be EBK because of the intended targets. These rappers were the intended targets. And B. Nell, then you got Dougie Threes. Nano was there, and this Norteño Manos from Vario Latino Locals was there as well. I believe it was his daughter's birthday party, or I think it was Nano's daughter's birthday party. It was one or the other. Somebody's birthday party for the little girl. But these rappers right here, MB Nell and Dougie, have, so far from what I've been watching, have been prime instigators when it comes to gang wars. They're going live, talking smack about EBK's camp. Now, mind you, EBK and Lewis Park Bloods have a loose alliance. At first, they didn't get along. Then being locked up in the pen, being locked up in the juvies and the counties, they started to get along. Then they started pulling off skits together. Then they built this alliance to where, since they have the same enemies, share the same enemies, they're going to go to war with different enemies. Same thing happened with Fly Boys, which everybody knows bands from, Fly Boys, and Mud Brothers, and B, which is a lot of other different rappers, including MB Nell, hence what MB stands for. Because a little bit before 2019, MB Nell started Mud Brothers, started his own clique, but he had respects from different cliques and different factors from North Stockton, and he decided to create his own MB, Mud Brothers. The only problem is Mud Brothers was already being used by a different clique. Now, a lot of these cliques have smaller cliques within their cliques, but they're all one big clique as a whole. But Lewis Park Bloods had their own little clique called Militant Boys, and B as well. And they didn't like that. So that little war started, a little feud, and that's why they started targeting MB Nell before he started dissing everybody. They actually robbed him for like an ARP, like an AR-14 or something. They robbed him for a gun. They punked him because they thought he was a punk. Well, he wasn't going for that, and he started doing diss tracks against them. Now, there's ongoing gang wars that have been taking place because it all stems from this rapper right here, one of the most popular rappers out of Stockton, who went international. Dude, I've seen people like in Scotland and Switzerland bumping his music on TikTok for Boogeyman. Well, it all dates back from when Nightingale and Flyboy's Mob, they were all kind of clicked up. They were cool, but, you know, he was like 16, 17, him and Osama, and they got punked for their shoes. See, he had relatives, I think a Theo and a dad, that were from Nightingale, which was a different clique. There was like a different form of alliance back then. It was like 2 cliques in one, but he was from the Nightingale part. And once his son and Osama got jacked for their shoes, his dad went and confronted those individuals that were responsible for it, which was Northside Gangsta Crips. And his dad dies from it. Now, I believe they were all under a mutual understanding and form of alliance, something like that along those lines, to where J-Bo retaliated, got his get backs. He was shaking hands with certain people of the Flyboys Mob, thinking everything was cool, smoking a weed with them, and they were having a music video shoot at a market. Because at that particular meeting where he was shaking hands and, you know, calling a truce and calling a peace treaty, they were calling his dad a weirdo in prison, putting all kinds of funny charges on his dad's name. And he didn't like that, so he retaliated. So even though he was shaking hands with these individuals and smoking weed and about to do a music video with them, he blindsided them. He snaked them at this particular market where they were doing the video shoot. It was called Eminem's Market, and allegedly they blamed EBK and his little crew that he was starting. They blamed him for shooting, I guess, a notorious killer in the streets of Stockton by the name of Sauce. Just shot him in the head. Sauce didn't die, but Sauce was known to put a lot of bodies underneath his belt. Sauce died years later, but they shot Sauce in the head, and that's what started this crazy gang war between Nightingale and Flyboys. So he was the one, allegedly, in accordance to the streets, that started all this gang war because over a pair of shoes, put his dad in an ugly predicament, and things started to escalate. And then he blitzed the same people he was shaking hands with for getbacks and retaliation and almost took out a big name. After that, J-Bo has been known to recruit a lot of EBK members from different gangs to part of his gangs, and they got pretty deep. They're not as deep as some of the biggest gangs like in North Stockton and Northside Gangster Crips, and there's other little gangs. They're not that deep, but they're deep enough where they've been retaliating against the Flyboys because the Flyboys have been known to kill a lot of their homeboys years ago. We're talking about pre-2019. But then EBK started taking out some of their own big names, like J Black at SNS Market. And if you hear a lot of their lyrics, like I had to, they always reference the SNN market because 3 Flyboys have been killed at that market. So it's all in these EBK camps, lyricism all day when they mention that market. They're referencing the Flyboys that they murdered at this market. And in between this gang war, you had Osama that died. You had Nick that died. You had Tommy, who was a West Side affiliate of the West Side Bloods. He died, but he was connected to Bounce Back Meek and everybody else. An individual that, you know, the Flyboys always make fun of, his name was Edward from Crow Valley. He wasn't like that, like a gang affiliated like crazy, but they had, I guess, some type of friendship because when Edward died, a lot of the EBK camp was posting them all on their Instagram. And if you listen to a lot of the Flyboys raps, they're always making fun of EBK's crew for talking about this dude because they call him all kinds of zesty stuff in his lyrics, calling him the F word, FAGGOT. You know, I can't use that word for YouTube purposes. There's like a video of him dancing zesty, and they just make fun of the EBK camp, how they were all sad and stricken and heartbroken because Edward from Crow Valley died. Like, these gangs got different alliances and different friendships with all these different gangs, but the biggest ones that are beefing with each other are Flyboys with Mud Brothers against Lewis Park Bloods and EBK camp. There was one guy they mentioned in the story. He was a militant A. That's what they call him. Asian dude, Asian and black dude that was giving the Flyboys a run for their money, putting them in the hospital, knocking them out in county jail. He wound up dying at a bar in Lodi. But you hear all these different random names as I'm gathering this story of everybody that was involved that know each other. And they're saying that multiple names that have died had multiple bodies on their belt before they died. A lot of cold cases that were cold cases and a lot of cases that were still pending investigation. We all know the situation with Slowby choosing the EBK camp, going to war with everybody else. All in his lyrics, he was talking about swat a fly, and look what happens. His ops catch him in Manteca, they shoot him. The Mercedes Benz that they used for that drive-by gets found in Tracy. Then let's not to forget the videos that I've done about bands from Flyboy's crib. 2019, because he ran his mouth in county jail for a different case to an undercover inmate because he wanted to outrank other people that had bodies in there and bragged about his case. And then next thing you know, I do a video and everybody else does a video about him. He was beefing with EBK, J-Bo, and that whole EBK camp. A lot of diss tracks going on, a lot of subliminal words in those lyrics. You got to really pay attention to him. He goes down for 2019 shooting of Elijah Johnson. Another big factor in the streets of Stockton. You got another EBK rapper, Sleaze, who actually took out a Flyboy, DeMar. You can see the gang wars are going back and forth. And there's like 3 more deaths in between that I chose not to jot down. Just because I didn't want to, like I said, overfeed you guys with a lot of information. But all these groups are going to war back and forth with each other. And then their loose alliances have rappers that link up with their other rappers of these alliances and continue to instigate the gang war on their social media platforms. Same thing about Cholo. He was killed from the West Side Bloods at a South Side market. You got shootings at M&M Market. Bro, if I was from the city of Stockton, I wouldn't even go shopping at a store that was called the Market, the way they brag about it in all their lyrics. But then it all leads years later to what happened in Stockton. 19 people shot. These were their intended targets. Obviously, of course, like I mentioned, MB Nell, Dougie's 3. You had Nano there. But there was a Norteño, Manos, from Vario Latino Locals. He was there. And it was a celebration of kids and a birthday party for kids. And like I said, the intended targets were the rappers. But I think when these gang members pulled up and they seen who else was there, you know, they took it as we're going to get all of them instead of just the people that we came looking for. The excuse is how could they not shoot at everybody else when everybody else was in attendance? Obviously, you have Key and Saya, these gang members who always been in the music videos and the backgrounds known as hitters. They were also there too. So we got top scores, top factors that these guys want to gun down all in one area. Obviously, you know why these gang members, whether they're from Lewis Park Bloods, whether they're EBKs doing the skits with Lewis Park Bloods, who knows what gang did it. But you can see why these gang members shot at 19 people. Sad reality, 3 of them were just kids. And there was a 21-year-old that lost his life. Obviously, MB Nell got shot, and somebody else, one of the main scores that they wanted to catch slipping, got shot. Critical condition. Some got shoulder wounds, nothing serious. But what sucks to know is that these gang members want to kill each other so bad over rap lyrics and gang wars and street politics. But in this particular case, in this mass shooting, only kids were killed. Without the police reports like the news media, how does that make sense? That is very dangerous to be living by. Yes, there's some norteños that got busted there, that were there, because everybody in Stockton is related on the basis that no one's divided by sections. I think townhomes and I think a couple other gangs in North Stockton are all strictly blacks, hardly any whites, hardly any Mexicans. But the rest of the city, Mexicans are siding up with blacks. Blacks are siding up with Mexicans. Mexicans are becoming Crips and Bloods. Blacks are becoming Northerners. Everything got mixed into where you don't even know who's who. You can actually be from a specific gang, but have ties to Fly Boys or Mud Brothers or EBK, and you're part of that gang too. You got to jump when they jump. Hella confusing to me. Took me hours just to do this video to kind of understand that all these gangs are interconnected one way or the other, and then they have alliances and their alliances have alliances, and we all share the same enemy, and it's open season. It's been open season since 2019, and the murder rate has been killing a lot of big names in the city of Stockton. But they're only big names in the city of Stockton. The point of the video is this. All of these rappers are in music videos dissing each other. All of these gangster rappers just go to war for days and weeks on end through Instagram posts. And the worst part about it, so many bloggers pay attention to what they're saying, that bloggers post about it, that fuels the fire, that instigates it even more, because now people are making fun of certain gangs. So now these gangs develop a complex and have to go retaliate. But all these rappers and gang members got something in common. They all preach the same narrative in their lyrics. Listen to a lot of their songs. They're talking about killing grandmas. They'll kill your mom. They'll kill your kids. They'll kill whoever you're standing on. EBK and Flyboys have been known to shoot at one another while kids were present. They don't care. And this is one of those situations where I'm showing you they don't care. And something needs to be done about it, because now you got kids getting killed left and right. This ain't the first time I've done a video about kids getting killed left and right. Death penalty cases for any gang member, whether it was incidental or accidental. You kill a kid through a walk down, through a drive-by shooting, a walk up. I don't care how you did it. A kid gets killed, death penalty. We need to bring a death penalty back, because I know Gavin Newsom has something to say about it. Not too many words, but I think a lot of people need to show up and tell that dude straight up, bring back the death penalty, and make sure they don't got to wait 20 years to get the death penalty, neither, to actually face their karma. Make it as soon as the appeal's over. No chance for a second appeal, third appeal, fourth appeal, fifth appeal. Sit them down. Send them to wherever they're going, whether it's heaven or hell, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be hell. And that's the point I'm making in this video. All these gang members, I posted something on my Instagram of one of the gang members that's not even from neither side. He's from, like, I think he was from Townhomes 500 or 300. Just some regular Crip dude. He was like, who don't condone it? We condone it. We ain't saying we the ones who did it, but we condone it. Then I seen some regular dude pull up to some hood in Stockton. He was like, what you mean I can't be out here? What you saying I won't pull up? And he pulls out a Glock with like 2 extendos on it, taped to each other. He's like, bro, we out here bumper down, bro. Like, it's that serious in those streets of Stockton. And I feel sorry for everybody living in Stockton that has to witness this every single day, every single year. That these gangs are so careless, so disorganized, so chaotic. They're just practicing anarchy. But I will say this about all you Stockton rappers. All your music is weak. Listen to it all. Y'all say the same thing over and over again. It's nothing but recycled lyrics. If y'all can sit there and just talk about gang-related stuff, that tells me that your mind frame hasn't grown and you really know what to do with yourself. All your lyrics talk about killing one another. Well, kill yourself while you're at it. because that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna die sooner or later. You might as well start rapping lyrics about killing kids too. Why not? Because you guys already done it. But just start telling everybody, start telling the government and law enforcement that you're down to kill kids too, because you guys don't have no boundaries, no standards, no morality, no sense of purpose. All y'all do is just wear leggings on the internet, post pictures of you wearing some cute clothes that you got from DD's in Burlington. Y'all focus more on your makeup and your haircuts more than anything else to look cute, as opposed to looking like a gangster. And then y'all run to the internet and gangbang more. If it wasn't for guns, none of you individuals will be outside. Y'all would be at the crib waiting for a plate from dinner from your moms. None of y'all would be thugging, but because y'all can get a hold of these handhelds and these switches and these Glocks and these extendos and play dirty, all y'all are killers now. Take those guns away, y'all ain't even half the man that you think you really are. Because it takes a gun to get you guys outside. And that is the truth. So with that being said, like all
Bye. Let's get straight to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I highly appreciate it, man. Thank you for all the support. I'm very humbled. So it just keeps going on and on and on, story after story after story about the Stockton mass shooting, right? And I came across a story that I thought was very interesting. It piqued my interest based upon my history, right? But at the same time, it makes no sense. And the way people are trying to characterize this part of this mass shooting story, I just really pay it no never mind. But I thought that I would put out my opinion, right? My perspective on what I think about this. So one of the victims, the 21-year-old victim, the young man who was shot and killed during that birthday party in Stockton, goes by the name Susano Archuleta, okay? And he's attending this birthday party on behalf of family members and friends, and he pulls up because he was the baby's father, the baby daddy of one of the family members' cousins, right? Or sisters, excuse me. The woman who actually threw the birthday party for her daughter, her sister's baby dad, who was Susano Archuleta, was killed tragically, right? Unsuspecting. And there's a lot of people running around talking about he was an active Norteño gang member. Now, that means a lot in the community of Stockton. In the gang life, in the street life, that does mean a lot. And it doesn't mean he was actively out there doing things, but he was definitely in good standings. And if he was a Norteño, and again, these are just allegedly what people are saying, right? If he was, that takes this story to a whole different realm. This changes everything. Because now what you have is now have the Norteños in Stockton, California, who are a very dangerous and treacherous organization and group out there involved, okay? There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle that are falling into place. It's only a matter of time before this manhunt that's going on produces some suspects and produces some arrests, right? We know that's coming. Who's guilty of this? A lot of people are saying one group, a lot of people are saying another group. Look, I'm not here to speculate and tell you it was these guys or it was those guys. Only those who were at the party seen the shooter. Only those that were at the party know who the shooter was. Now, there's not a lot of people giving up the ghost, meaning there's not a lot of people that were attending that party that are willing to say just who it was or from what side it came from. We are hearing details that this person started the shooting within the building and then went outside of the building and continued to shoot. Okay, there's a lot of victim testimonies and victim witnesses that are saying that, you know, an alleged argument broke out and this man just busted in and just started shooting. You know, speculation is speculation. At the end of the day, it's a tragic event where children lost their lives, and that should be the core focus. right? What we could do in the communities to alleviate the problem of gang violence and drama and bullshit, okay? I know Biggie said party and bullshit, but this was a party with a whole lot of bullshit, man. And when kids are losing their lives, that's too much shit to bear. You have people now that are holding vigils, they're burying their young ones, all because some individuals took gang violence into a 2-year-old child's birthday party. So sick. It's sickening. It's actually sickening. It turns your stomach when you really think about it. When you break down all the details, this could have been avoidable or could have been avoided easily, right? With the right mindset. But these youngsters nowadays don't have that mindset. Their mindset is EBK all day. Their mindset is clout. Their mindset is internet. Their mindset is you get brownie points or you get stripes if you shoot at your enemy. Okay, look, I'll tell you right now, I don't know one person I've done time with over 19 years incarcerated, right? I don't know one homie, one homeboy, one Crip, one Blood, one Northern, or one Asian that gets street cred or get any type of credibility because they killed an enemy when they go to prison. See, what they don't understand is their slate starts clean if it's a decent case. If it's a bad case, if children were involved, right? Now they got someone to answer to behind them walls. But it's not like that you're going to get a hug, a pat on the back, a dap, some canteen or anything because you killed your enemy. Okay? In fact, there's going to be a lot of people speculating and looking at you quite differently because you killed another brown man or another black man or another white man, because usually in street gang violence, the same person that you're shooting looks just like you. That's just the real core of the problem. You know, it's hard to unify blacks and browns and whites and blacks and all these different groups that people say things are racially motivated because they're divided. Well, it's hard to unite. It's hard to have those conversations to come to an understanding and to embrace each other's culture when you're too busy cleaning house and killing your own. You got to get your own shit together before you can get shit together with someone else. Learned that a long time ago. Now, that's real education. That's real knowledge you can't get in college. But let's take it back to Susano. 21 years old. Didn't really get to experience much, but a couple birthday parties, one that tragically ended his life. When he woke up that morning, he didn't realize that just going to a simple 2-year-old's birthday party would be the demise of his life. Okay, his family just held a vigil in Stockton, California in remembrance of him. And the word on the curb is he was an active Norteño. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean he was actively out there shooting people or hurting people or pushing that envelope or that line out there in the streets. That means he was a Norteño that still was in good standings, still was in good status, meaning that he was embraced with canalismo and love in his neighborhood. Now, he's 21 years old. He's still not fully a man, okay, at that point when his life took a tragic end. But at the same time, 21 years old, you know enough to know enough what to do, what you're doing. You know right from wrong, right? And there wasn't nothing wrong with him going to that birthday party. It wasn't like he was in there gang banging, wearing colors, throwing up baños, red flags or blue flags or anything. Sur gang. He wasn't doing none of that, okay? He was literally going because his lady, his baby mama, was related to the person who was throwing that party. So he was there by proxy. He was there just because his baby mama was going, right? He was there to show support, to show the kids support. You know, he wasn't in there actively gangbanging. So when people are running around talking about, oh, he was an active homie. Yeah, not at that party though. Okay, not at all. I don't think any of those guys were actively engaging in gang violence in that party, just the shooter. Now, whether this was a targeted situation, and that's the way it seems, right? And I know immediately everybody thought MB Nell, that was the target. And then it went from MB Nell to the father of the kid who was tragic. You know, the shooting happened at her birthday party, the 2-year-old. Thank God she wasn't hit, man. Thank God, right? 2-year-old baby, I wouldn't be able to stomach it. But there was a 4-year-old, right? All victims' names have been released. And, you know, the children are my core focus. Now, I understand that this guy being an active Norteño is a story. You know, all drama is a story. And the reason it's a story is because Stockton is very known to have Norteños. Probably they're the biggest group, the biggest gangs. You know, there's several different bodies, the Triple S, the East Side Stockton. You got Little Unity from back in the days in Pilgrim Street. and 6th Street, and you got all these different sets and different barrios. I don't even call them sets, man. I don't know why I said that. I mean, acting like a youngster, right? Dressing like one and acting like one. You fuck around and call me Punky Brewster. But different barrios, right, in the city of Stockton, and the majority, if not all of them, are Norteños. I know there used to be some Southsider sets, like sets. Yeah, I'm saying it again. I'm used to that now. Barrios like Playboys and Vickystown. And I don't know if they're still prevalent or around in the city of Stockton. I haven't been to Stockton in a minute, right? But one thing I could tell you for sure is if this was an active Norteño, a Norteño in good standings who was gunned down in this situation, and it didn't involve him, meaning he was just an innocent bystander, you know, of course, there's going to be some Norteños, his homeboys from his neighborhood, that are going to feel some type of way. Now, as far as retaliation, all that, what happens in the city of Stockton. You know, people that are like, oh, the homies are gearing up to do this, or people are gearing up to do that. The truth of the matter is, if it happens, it happens. Unfortunately, you know, when it comes to gangs, it's tit for tat and it's back and forth. So if this guy was just randomly there based upon he was just going to show support for the family because he was lightweight related to that family or involved with that family, it doesn't mean like he was the intended victim and they were going for him. But then again, it does not mean that he wasn't the intended victim. See, at the end of the day, there's so many different twists and turns. The ones that I know weren't intended to be the victims were the ones that actually were victimized, and that was the children. Okay? Anytime a person in themselves can go to a spot where there's children, a birthday party, and open fire, that is the most cowardice piece of shit act I've ever seen or heard of in the world, right? Anytime a man, a solid man, a man who's in the mix, can raise a gun to a child, there is something wrong. That does not involve gangbanging. That has nothing to do with gangs. That right there is predator type psychopathic behavior, period. If you can beat a child, if you could kill a child, if you could do anything like that, if you have that within you to do something like that, you are worse than Jake Harrow. You are the same thing, and you belong in a cell or facing the death penalty just like him. That's just the facts and the truth of the matter, right? Now, we can't take away what has already progressed and what has already happened. You know, Stockton is reeling right now. Like I said, having candlelight vigils. A lot of awareness is coming to the forefront, and I'm glad that that's happening. The community is stepping up. Community activists and leaders are actually out there trying to tame the flame that is already fanning, right? They're trying to tame the fires. They don't want to see more retaliation. They don't want to see more kids hurt. You know, this is tragic. This is a big deal, especially in the Stockton community where, I mean, shootings happen every day. Gangbanging is real in Stockton. And when I say it's real, I don't mean it's cool, but it is real. It's part of life there. You have to identify with the fact that every time you go outside your door in the city of Stockton, California, there's going to be gang members out there in public. And if they see their enemigo or they see someone who they have beef with, they're probably going to engage. And what I mean by engaging is they're probably going to engage via handguns. Now, does that mean every day that you're out there in Stockton, someone's getting shot? No, but it happens a lot more in Stockton than other cities in the surrounding areas. That's just the truth. Stockton's always had a reputation for violence, for gangs, for drugs. And it doesn't mean Stockton's a bad city, not whatsoever, man. My grandfather, he owns 2 businesses in Stockton, or at least he did before he passed away. He owned a barbershop downtown that was connected to an ice cream store. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. It was downtown Stockton, but that was my grandfather, Rudy, that owned that, right? So I used to go to Stockton as a kid and even as a teenager, and I pulled up a couple of times before I went to the youth authority. I can't say a teenager because when I say teenager, I mean 18 plus, because I was locked up my whole youth in the California Youth Authority with a lot of solid Norteños active from Stockton. Okay, now, if this youngster, and he was a youngster, 21 years old, Susano Archuleta was an active Norteño, that means the Norteños are definitely locked in. That means they're really peeping the scene. That means they're feeling some type of way. Now, MB Nell, what's the other guy? Nano MB. These guys were rappers, but were also gang associated and affiliated, right? I don't know what particular neighborhood they were representing or what, you know, nowadays it's different. I did a video yesterday. I explained to you guys the gangs from my era and from the eras prior were different. We were from different cliques and different values, but you knew what we were representing as a whole. Nowadays, I don't know. I don't know if they're Bloods, they're Northerners, they're Crips. It's all mixed up. Money over bitches gang, a fentanyl gang. Like, you just don't know, okay, what they got going on. but they are definitely in the mix. They are definitely out there acting a fool. And someone felt very disrespected. Now, I'm hearing a lot of different stories. You know, people are saying, hey, MB Nell was really like that. He's really like that, homie. Because I did the video yesterday where, you know, I only reiterated what his own father said, that he was in hiding, that he continues to be in hiding. And I'm sure, man, he's with the business. I'm sure he'll go out there and he'll kill a kid too, right? I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying, man, nowadays, I guess being with the business entails that, right? But at the end of the day, I understand his wanting to be out the way for a while everything cools down. You know, the detectives are doing a proper investigation. They're investigating all leads. And the streets are out there saying that one particular group were the culprits of this. If that's the truth, then that was red on red, right? If that's the truth. I do not believe the Norteños did that. Now, one thing I will say is this. I wouldn't put it past any group to have a loose cannon and someone that doesn't realize that children mean more than just a sacrifice, right? You know, but then I had one guy that got at me in the comments, and he was actually right, man, and I had to acknowledge it. He was like, it wouldn't be the first time that a Mexican or any other group, man, did something like this. I said, oh, no, definitely. We live in a big world. A lot of incidents have happened. But recently, we all remember the Goshen Massacre tragedy. If you don't remember, I'm going to reiterate and give you guys a little bit more of the rundown right now on the set. See, I said it one more time. And it's not a laughing matter or nothing to make fun of. That's just my character, man. Don't get it twisted. I had one guy went off, how can you be laughing at this time? I'm not. But it's just me, right? I'm never going to not be me. You know, the Goshen Massacre, when the family was killed and the baby and the 16-year-old baby mother was killed, man, that right there was heinous. That right there was non-provoked. You know, them guys easily could have let that little girl and that baby go. They were not the intended victims. They were not, they didn't do anything to them guys to warrant that to be executed, right? And still, they took the initiative to do that cold-blooded. I hope those guys rot in hell. Those two individuals, I still hear that one of them thinks he's active and he's in good standing. I don't know how that's going to work out for him. The other one's already telling, so it doesn't matter. I'll say this, though. Yes, you are right. Gang members sometimes go overboard and they do things they should not do. But that needs to be on an individual case basis. That you can't hold the whole gang accountable and everything. And I know this whole incident leads back to gangbanging. And gangs, I'm not sitting here and trying to justify and poison people and saying gangs are good, because they're not. They're never good for a community. And, you know, it's basically the way I look at it, and I was an active gang member, and I'm not going to say this about everybody because I'm not going to judge anyone. I don't know their get down. I don't know their history. But for me, it was cowardice. I joined the gang out of cowardice, right? I joined the gang because I couldn't be on my own as a person. I couldn't be out there doing my thing. I like the look. I like the canalismo. I like the way we were a group and we handled our business together. I like the backup that came with it. I loved every little part of it, right? But I didn't love the time. I didn't love the anguish and the heartache that I was causing my family. I didn't love being broke all the time. I didn't love the fact that drugs were involved in the mix. I didn't love the fact that I was making children with women and basically not being there for them. I didn't like this because too much of my time was going towards gangbanging and being incarcerated and being locked up. So to me, I was being a cowardly person. Now that I'm no longer that, I'm being an active, productive member of my society and from my family and from my friends, and someone that I believe when I look in the mirror, I'm proud of and they can count on, right? Now, that doesn't mean all gang members are like me. I'm just telling you from my point of view. If this youngster was an active Norteño, right? He never got to experience a lot of the hardship, the struggle, the strife, right? And he died at a very young age and not representing his gang. People are like, oh, that's the homie. He died going out and bullet. No. He wasn't in there representing Norte. He wasn't in there gangbang. He was at a 2-year-old baby's birthday party. And somebody decided because they had beef with whoever that was there to come in and start shooting everything moving. Children included. Batteries not included? No, in this case, children included. The person, and they're going to catch this person or persons who did this. Whatever neighborhood it is, they just pretty much killed their own vibe. You know, this right here set off a chain of events that is either going to be retaliatory. There's going to be other people involved. And best believe, look, I'm here to tell you, man, if the Norteños are involved in any capacity, whether it be victim which we know that he was an active Norteño now, allegedly, right? Or the guys doing the repercussions, or the actual culprits who did this. It's not a good look, man, and it's going to bring the integrity of the cause down. You know, there's no way to justify people killing kids. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's liable for it, and that's what Norteños do, or Southsiders do, or blacks do. No, I hear people saying, "Oh man, these dudes were moving like blacks. That's how blacks get down." Not necessarily. If you look at the last few incidences that have happened that involve children, man, and I love my raza, and I'm keeping it real though. You know, it's been raza related. It has nothing to do with the brothers, right? So for people that are pointing fingers and they're acting this way and that way, no, you know what they're acting? They're acting foolish. They're not acting black. They're not acting brown. They're not acting white. They're acting stupid. Okay? They're acting stupid, and they're acting fucking like weirdos forever. You know what I mean? Pulling a piece out or a gun out when there's kids in the vicinity. Period. Why do you think drive-bys and things like that were stopped by the organizations a long time ago? Because there was too much victimization going on, too many civilians, innocents, and kids. And not only that, it was bringing bad, negative energy and attention to the groups that are just trying to do their thing and make their money. This right here in Stockton, if you look at it from every different angle and all different elements, it's very, very bad for everybody involved, right? You know, you have a mother having to explain to the news, man, and it's upsetting. You know, she feels like people are pointing fingers at her, you know, because she threw a birthday party for her 2-year-old child. You know, she didn't know someone was going to come in there. I'm sure and look, let's not fucking beat around the bush. I'm sure she knew her baby daddy, and she knew what he was saying and the things that he was saying, but never in her wildest dreams that she would think inviting her family and friends and their friends to a birthday party would end up like this. Nobody did. Okay, because there's people I don't feel sorry for. She knew her old man was a gang member and was saying he was talking about killing kids and doing all this too. His damn stuff. You can't blame a woman for that. She's trying to do a righteous thing for her daughter. You know, she shouldn't be to blame. She shouldn't bear that burden. It's not her fault. Her conscience shouldn't be eating at her at all. She literally just threw a birthday party. The only people that should be concerned were the people that were out there woofing that high power shit and pulling up to kids' birthday parties and not being aware, having their awareness way down, and the people who sanctioned and did this. That's it. The kids are not at fault. The parents are not at fault. The ones that are at fault are the ones doing the bullshit gang banging and the ones that are willing to pull up and hurt children in the process. That's who it is. As far as this active Norteño, man, rest in peace. I feel for him. He never got to experience life to its full, complete capacity, right? And life is hard. So I'm glad at one aspect that he missed that hardship, but still, man, I know his family is mourning for him. I'm mourning for him, man. It's a bad thing. And I don't think people need to be focused on, he was a homie. He was a homie. No, he was a man. He was a father. He was a son. He was a brother. That's what people need. People need to look at the humanity in things and stop looking at the streets and the gangbang. Who gives a fuck what he claimed? You know what I'm saying? Let him die with that. That's what comes with it. When you're a gang member, death or life incarceration, that's what comes with it. Unfortunately, death came with him, not because of his gang banging, but because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Let me know what you guys think, man. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the
Hey man, I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. Like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. With that being said, man, once again, it happened. I'm not gonna sit here and say I really looked into it and like, hey, this is a retaliatory thing or an incident that happened because of the birthday party. But you know, back to back shootings, this one was just a double shooting. Let me play the video for you guys, and then I'll get into the video, what I want to say in this particular video.
Breaking news, more gun violence tonight in Stockton, where sheriff's deputies are at the scene of a double shooting. The shooting.
A woman gets shot multiple times, and he saw a man get shot right near his leg.
There you have it. No walk downs, no walk ups, nothing. It was a drive-by shooting. If you actually go and look at the news itself, it was a vehicle that pulled up next to a man and a woman. Doesn't say if they were a couple. There was just a man and a woman walking down the street, and it happened by a school. I can't remember what it's called. I think it was Franklin High or something. It happened by a school, and there was a soccer game, a kids' soccer game nearby. Just want to emphasize that to everybody, because everybody's gonna probably be like, man, you beating this subject up too much, you bleeding it. Bro, when I talked about Southern California for like 2 weeks straight, everybody was mad. Then I go to Northern California, and I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna be mad. Like, hey, bro, go back to Southern California. Like, I can't make everybody happy. I'm sorry, but for the audience members who love it, I love you guys. Right next to a soccer game where kids were playing, a birthday party with kids involved. And now, even though the soccer game wasn't involved, there was multiple shots. It was 10 rounds. Woman got hit only a couple of times, and a man got shot in the leg. The rest of those bullets could have ricocheted off vehicles, could have ricocheted off walls, could have went past everybody and hit that soccer game where kids were playing a soccer game that night. After what happened at a school, after what happened at a birthday party with kids, man, it'd be a couple of weeks before I even let my kids go outside. They would have security going to school and security coming back home. The streets of Stockton are hot right now. And we've all heard about Stockton and their politics. And now it makes me wonder why, when I was in prison, the NF always wanted to deem the whole city of Stockton no good. But I figured they were just trying to deem the Norteños. But in this case, a lot of the Norteños ain't really the cause of the violence. It's just the regular gangs itself. So how's the NF really going to have Norteños blasting everybody from Stockton when these guys run others, runs blacks, run Crips, run Bloods? It's not our politics. It would just start a bunch of gang wars. But the NF love to call Northern California their territory, but they can't control it. They ain't got no control over nothing. So a soccer game happening, kids could have almost got killed, but thankfully I ain't got to do a video like that. But drive-bys are a thing to do in Stockton. These kids got these switches on these Glocks because they ain't afraid of the consequences at all whatsoever. And it's crazy to me that my DM's been hurting lately. A lot of gangster rap supporters out of Stockton. A lot of people accusing me as a hypocrite because I bump rap. Honestly, I haven't bumped rap for a little while. Every now and then, I think King, what's his name? King Eco. Sneaky Link was probably like the last rap song I listened to. Listen to old school rap. Rap is rap. I get it. I never said, you got to stop listening to rap. I'm not trying to ban rap. All I did was point out Stockton's gangster rap, because if you listen to all the lyrics, bro, those are real life homicide cases that are be put in rap lyrics. And then I'm going to play this video for you real quick because I am going to criticize it just a little bit.
25-year-old Billy Williams sits in the San Joaquin County Jail.
They want to talk about my name. They want to talk about what happened. Tell them to talk about who carried the kids.
Now, this is one of those gangster rappers that I pointed out in my last video and videos on social media. Look, I get it, man. He's hurting. A lot of people were like, hey, bro, you shouldn't be talking on an interview. You too gangster for that, bro. That's considered snitching. You shouldn't be talking at all. Nah, you know what? There's always room for redemption. Even though he was like, everybody's talking about me, why don't you talk about how I picked up them kids? No, how about you talk about not being in the presence of kids where this can happen to kids because of the energy that you bring to this world and the energy that comes back to you, the negative energy. How about stop instigating gang wars with people you shake hands with, like, MB Nell and Nano and everybody else? Bro, regardless of who did it and why they did it, they went after y'all. They didn't go after a kid's party to start dumping at kids. They went after y'all. The kids just got hit and the kids got hurt. So I don't want to hear your sympathy, because a lot of people were like, bro, why can't he apologize and send his condolences though? Okay, he's more than welcome to, because that was his relative that passed away. He may feel somewhat responsible for the life that he chose and his choice of words that he did in a rap song and the personal beefs that he had that led to this. Even though a lot of people are saying, the mother of the party is the one that leaked the location by, telling everybody where the party was at, and the wrong people got into the ears and the hands of wrong people. And they say, you know what? We're blasting everybody. I don't really know all the circumstances like that, because the suspects have yet to be caught. So it doesn't matter who it is. What matters is, I don't care if you were saving lives at that birthday party and you guys were dumping back at that birthday party and you were helping some of the kids get away and survive. That does not matter to I don't care about none of these rappers and what their opinions have to say because they've been in my DMs rough. Like, bro, I'm not gonna argue with self-proclaimed outlaws that are just weak-minded thinkers. I'm not. I just make my videos and continue on my day because I'm reaching the greater audience, the greater masses where it's important, where it counts, and where it matters. I'm a voice for them, not a voice for you gangster raps. I'm not giving you guys a glorifications when I do these videos. No, I'm trying to reach higher places and get bigger things done about this. Because he wants to sit there and cry in an interview and then act. If you really wanted to do good for the kids, like you said, Jack, you were saving lives, then I think you know who did it. I think you could resolve this matter a hell of a lot better. But you're not. Your gangster image is far more important. So you're going to let these kids die in vain on the basis that you got to swallow your pride and still be that thug, still be Dougie Threes, but try to reach some type of sympathy like, hey, I was saving kids' lives at that party. Well, months prior, you were instigating gang wars in your rap lyrics with everybody else. Even if it doesn't stem from that, you piss enough people off, you and the other rappers that were there that, whether it was from a diss song or whether it was some stuff you said online. I'm telling you guys, go look him up. It's called Stockton Action on Instagram. Go look it up. Go look up the actions of Stockton. Just go look up how Stockton be getting down. This Instagram, Stockton Action, has everything about Stockton, bro. And you're going to see so many gang members and gangster rappers and little B rappers and baby rappers disrespecting each other on live. Not to mention this dude that's in this interview that's pleading his case, talking about stop talking about me. Go look up, I think it's like a throwback. He was on live with his ops. His ops pulled up. And it's a crazy shootout. I would play it for YouTube, but YouTube might just kick my butt. Crazy shootout, and then he picks up the phone, and they hop in the car, and they bounce. They started shooting back at their enemies when their enemies started shooting at them. Go look it up. I ain't really got to do much. The internet speaks for itself. The actions of you guys speak for themselves. I'm just good at looking stuff up. That's all. And I'm good at pointing out the obvious when everybody hasn't seen it yet. And I think that's why these gangster rappers got mad at me the most, because I believe Nano is the one that's saying this to me. His Instagram might be a little different, but he's like, hey, fool, keep my name at your videos, man, you little weirdo. Stop pushing this false narrative, bro. Our raps had nothing to do with this. I'm like, so I go look at his Instagram and bam, right there, he's trolling a gang member that was trolling him, talking about, man, you wasn't the one who did it. I know who did it, yada, yada, yada. So these gang members are still talking smack after a child's birthday party. And they're right there just still instigating on Instagram. Still instigating on Instagram, bro. Like, you guys are internet thugs. I'm just a good content creator. Trust me, the feds are watching all of this. There's going to be some big indictments coming by these feds. I'm pretty sure the feds are tired of this. But the message in my video is this, man. I get that he's feeling sorry. He's in himself, he's feeling some type of way. I think anybody would with a good conscience. All I'm saying is, bro, like, these double shootings, no matter what the circumstances are, no child should have to be blown out their candles and then worrying about gunshots. No parent should be dodging bullets while their kids are dodging balloons. It shouldn't come to that. The thing is, a lot of people can blame guns, and a lot of people are just going to blame gang members, and a lot of people are going to blame that they're one and the same. I'm blaming the mindset. These gang members they're not scared to go to jail because they come in and out of jail left and right on easy charges. They get early release parole now. They get 33% when they go to prison. These gang members ain't scared of nothing no more. That's the problem. So when everybody in my comment sections, whether it's on social media, whether it's on this one, just likes and views in a bag, sure. Y'all say the same thing to everybody that you guys don't like. Nah, I want my views and likes to cause that much traction because look what it caused this time. And I'm happy for it. I'm happy that these gang members and these gangster rappers are in my DMs pissed off. Because I want my views and my likes to reach places where it matters, where it counts. To let it be a wake-up call to people that can actually make a change and make a difference. Even though people are going to say Gavin Newsom ain't going to make a change or difference. But why should a kid get 2 or 3 years for a Glock with a switch? Why should he go to jail for 5 years on a plea deal for attempted murder? Why should he get 25 years with the possibility of parole with good time credit and all kinds of other extracurricular programs for a gang-related homicide and an innocent person died? Why do they get any chance? If communities have to watch these guys terrorize their communities, then lawmakers and politicians and judges and district attorneys should not tolerate their freedom whatsoever. That's what I want done with my likes and my views. Harsher punishments. And this is coming from a former gang member who did 15 years, 2 strikes for armed robberies. And people can say I'm no different from them. Well, there's a big difference. I came home and I still haven't caught a sparking spot. I came home and I still haven't caught my first parking ticket, a speeding ticket. I've been following the laws effectively, with care, with gratitude and appreciation for my freedom now that I don't ever want to go back to jail, put myself in a position to ever go back to jail. So I changed from the better. Me doing these kind of videos on a consistent basis, I'm just righting my wrongs, doing what I need to do, doing the greater good for my past mistakes. I want to reach those people and bring those harsher punishments back, because these kids got that mentality like, man, going to jail is a vacation. It's just a network event. I mean, and out of jail, man, that's credibility. That's street credibility. Well, that credibility, we're going to take those credits away in jail so you don't come home early, because nobody wants you out here. That's what I want done. All this retaliation and get backs, go get your get backs on the streets. I think it's about time, you know, regular civilians that are tired of this senseless violence, they get their get backs. They get their revenge. Not just to lock people up, but I think communities deserve protection. I think innocent people deserve safety. And people are just dying left and right while these guys go in and out of jail like it's a recycling door at a mall. And yet everybody else is burying loved ones because of their stupidity. So that's why I chose to do this video and convey this message. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.
The newest Stockton shooting victim had a horrible past. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So as we know, on the 29th of last month, there was a horrible massacre over there in Stockton. A bunch of people were shot. 4 people were killed. 3 of those 4 were basically babies. The other one was 21 years old. And, you know, I've done several videos on it. A lot of people have done several videos on it. A lot of people are scratching their head. How could something happen where it's a place full of children? How could you people just pull their guns out, pull the trigger, knowing there's children all over the place? And nobody has an answer. There could never be a good answer, right? And then now we have another shooting occurs. And the victim, there was 2 victims. The one that died from the shooting was a woman. And when I first heard this, I was like, damn, what the hell is going on? How are women and children being gunned down in this city? Murder is always senseless. So we can't ever make sense out of it at all. But this one is a real tragedy. Abdulia Lulu Sanchez is the one that was killed the other day. Was this related to the massacre that happened on the 29th? I highly doubt it. But for those of you that don't recognize the name Lulu Sanchez, it's a tragic story. Lulu Sanchez was live streaming, driving down the street. She was under the influence. Her 14-year-old sister and one of her sister's friends were in the back seat. Everybody was having a great time. And Lulu lost control of the car. In the car accident, what wound up happening was her 14-year-old sister was killed. Lulu was convicted of vehicular manslaughter and sentenced to prison. My understanding, she was sentenced to 5 years of prison and got out. I think she did maybe 2. After her release, she got caught up in a car chase, crashed another car, and when authorities searched the vehicle, they found a weapon. This is a very, very troubled woman. Can you imagine? When you look back, you can look on other platforms, type in her name, Lulu Sanchez, car accident. You'll see her driving. You'll see all the girls in the car having a good time. Why she kept streaming, I don't know. But she showed her sister's body, the damage to the vehicle. And you see the devastation when she realizes what she did to her sister. I'm positive that Lulu had demons. When she saw what happened to her little sister, I'm sure she blamed herself, rightly so. But I'm sure she never forgave herself. I don't know this woman. Those that do know her, hopefully will come out and paint a picture that is different than the one that a lot of people are already painting in their own mind because of what happened years ago in that car. And then the subsequent car chase, car accident. I don't know if it'll ever come out why Lulu was killed. Could it be that it was related to what happened in the car accident? Just as her sister's death probably ate at her, the loss of her sister may well have ate at someone else. Maybe it had nothing to do with that and was just strictly crime related. Maybe she was involved in things and those things caught up to her. Like I said, we will probably never know. But Stockton, the light is shining on your city. The feds are in your city. The feds are going to build cases. There will be indictments. They take their time. Don't think because the feds haven't kicked your door in or arrested you yet that they're not building a case. I say, those of you that are involved in that criminal life, criminal world, right now is probably the best time for you to reevaluate what your priorities are. Maybe put your family first at this point. Go get a job. Earn some honest money. The problem is, friends come and go, enemies accumulate. Stockton's not that big. Everybody knows each other. If you did something to somebody and you stop pushing that line and start trying to get an honest day's living, work hard for your family, the enemies that you made in the past, they see that as an opening, as an opportunity. I get it. But I'm telling you, if you're caught up in some stuff, if you continue this life, the way the law authorities are all over your city, sooner or later, you're going to go sit down behind those walls. And it's going to be too late because you're going to have to do that time. And that time ain't easy. Condolences to the family. They lost 2 daughters now. Again, I don't know what this was behind. I just can't wrap my head around women and children being gunned down. I don't know if Lulu was the main target. Maybe it was the person she was with. But it seems like the main targets just keep getting by, and the standers by, and bystanders, whatever you want to call them, those are the ones that are getting hit and removed from this world. Those of you doing these shootings, I don't know, man. I just don't see, I don't see any stripes, any brownie points behind hitting women and children. Maybe it'll come out later what it was, and maybe she did something. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't make sense of it. And like I said, murder is senseless. Killing is senseless. Whoever comes up with an excuse of why they did it, at the end of the day, it's never going to be good enough. I know. I've killed. And my reasons weren't right. It's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be
What exactly are you supposed to do when your ops are out here committing war crimes?
It's tragic news out of Stockton tonight, where a child's birthday party turned deadly. 4 people are confirmed dead, 10 others injured after shooting at an ice cream shop.
It's a completely unprecedented news. We received word that rappers MB Nell and Dougie were ambushed at a child birthday party last night and were apparently victims in a wild mass shooting that resulted in several children and adults getting senselessly slaughtered. Over 19 people are injured, and so far 4 are confirmed dead, which has become nationwide news overnight, shedding light on one of the most active rap scenes in North America. Many people might wonder what could have made ops this mad to really pull up and air out an infant's birthday party to try to murk their ops. But when you look at the history of gang violence in this area and the beef that MB Nell had with some of the most known rappers in the California scene like EBK J-Bo, you can see that this is just the latest casualty in the ongoing gang war between multiple homicidal gangs in the Stockton rap scene. So today, we got to get into the deadly beast in the Stockton scene that led up to this brutal shooting. And we're going to get into it right now. But before we do, I'm going to need you to do this for me, man. Run this video up. We're on the road to 50K subscribers right now. If you're watching this, make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so whenever I post, you tune in right away. I caught some merch, link in the description at staysafeworld.com. And don't sleep on hitting that hype button to get this video up going crazy. So let's get into this right now. In order to understand how things got this crazy, with some creative player crash outs had to pull up and air out a whole party for a kid, you got to understand how unhinged 2 of the main gangs in the area are between EBK and Fly Boys, aka Mud Boys. The Northern California drill scene is where serial killers go to make music. Imagine getting killed by a nigga and your diss track only gets 100K views. This is real life. The Stockton, California rap scene is the closest thing to giving Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, or Richard Ramirez a mic, some of the hardest West Coast beats that have ever been made. This city is not even top 10 in state population, but has been #1 for the whole state in murder since 2010. While there's little hope in the armpit of California, somehow, some way, in the midst of the violence,
have released new images of suspects from a homicide investigation accused of murder.
The death and the destruction, fans became captivated with one group that made waves all throughout the state, EBK, a clique of Nightingale Bloods from Southeast Stockton that is home to legends in the California drill scene like Young Slowby, EBK Young Jock, and the face of California rap right now, EBK J-Bo. J-Bo was supposed to have a breakout year, being featured on NBA YoungBoy's tour and becoming the first XXL freshman to record his cypher in jail. It was supposed to be a movie. However, the streets would catch up and ruin his motion altogether. This group literally took its name to heart and is allegedly responsible for putting belt to ass against the whole city, and has come with consequences. To make it out of a place like Stockton is not easy. From facing one of the largest gang takedowns in California history,
I can tell you that this gang takedown that they just had is not only helping to prevent crime
crimes that are just about to happen, but it's also helping to solve the ones that already occurred. Now, you mentioned it, what they took off the streets. So let me show you, and you can see them right there. 58 guns, 10 of them assault rifles, another 12 of those were ghost guns.
Members like Sloby and EBK Osama getting gunned down, to alleged shooters like EBK Lil Play fighting life for taking out one of the next big rappers in the city. The story behind the war in Stockton is one of the craziest that I've ever seen in America. Stockton, California is the forgotten city of California. Tucked in the San Joaquin Valley, it was once an essential place for farming and workers looking for places to live so they could commute to close by cities of Sacramento or the Bay Area. However, the 2008 housing crisis hit this city hard like many cities in inland California. Many became victims of predatory loans and the eventual foreclosures, which left poverty to run rampant. With people unable to pay taxes to the local government, even the city of Stockton was forced to go bankrupt in 2012 after running a deficit of $26 million. Like, bro, imagine being broke and you living in the literal brokest major city in America. It's not going to end well. This abject poverty affected Black and Latino communities the most, and this led to many people joining gangs to survive and try to run up some bread when legal avenues ran out. One of these gangs was EBK, a mostly blood clique based out of the southeast of the city on 2100 Nightingale Avenue. Their most notable members who we got to talk about today is EBK J-Bo, aka The Face, Young Sloby, Gone and Not Forgotten, and EBK Lil Play, another rapper who had potential but might lose his freedom to a beef with another clique with deep ties in the music scene that we're going to get into in the next chapter, that most likely played a clear role in the shooting that happened last night. However, to understand how a war between two gangs could get this far, you got to understand the tragic life of EBK J-Bo and how the Mud Boys / Flyboy Crips that MB Nail had associated with had played a tragic role in this. As the youngest and allegedly most reckless member of EBK J-Bo or Jamani Gorman pretty much had to learn how to be in the streets at a young age from the environment around him. From shootouts at school when he was a freshman to getting arrested with multiple gun charges, it seems like it all went downhill though in 2015 when his dad was killed in broad daylight by other teenagers.
Stockton father's murder, and they want to know why he was targeted.
Who's gonna take responsibility for the loss? You know, what can you do? You just gotta wait it out until it hopefully passes. But it's not.
We've learned a 16-year-old suspect in this case was already in juvenile hall.
But he was temporarily free on a weekend pass. KCRA3's Kathy Park is finding out why.
Pamela Black lost her son, James Gorman, in a shooting Sunday inside his car at Hammer Lane in Lanark in Stockton.
For someone to kill him behind a pair of shoes is devastating.
Police say Gorman's sons were robbed in the morning. Later, Gorman went looking for the suspects and ended up getting shot and killed. Police say the gunman is just 16 years old and was already in juvenile hall.
January 5th, 2015 would be a day that J-Bo remembers forever, as his life would change in a matter of seconds. What started as a chill day in the park with his family turned hectic when two masked teenagers pulled a gun on them and robbed them of their shoes and cash. When J-Bo and his siblings would come home with all their items missing, his dad would go out and look for them to get their items back. Unfortunately, that would be the last time he was seen. Stockton police said they responded to a call of shots fired near Dalewood and Stockton. A short time later, they found a 30-year-old clinging to life inside of a Porsche at the intersection of Hammer Lane and Lane Art. Police say James Gorman, aka R. Rari, later died at an area hospital. This death definitely had an effect on J-Bo because pretty much from that point on, he would be in and out of jail every year. However, his dad was a rapper too, and it seems like from that point on, he would take rapping serious as a way to get out of the situation. At the same time though, it seemed like the rap beef with another clique from the Stockton area would catapult his career, but would have him lose many to the streets, which we got to talk about in the next chapter. While EBK was becoming the face of Stockton rap, there were other cliques from the South that were also coming up in the rap scene, some of which even had close ties to members of EBK. One of those cliques was home to rapper MB Nail. MB Nail, originally born to Filipino immigrants in the South Stockton area in the 8th Street section, became active in the streets from birth, having relatives who were banging Asian Crip gangs. With no opportunities present at the time, he and his homies started gangbanging as a means to survive and created their own clique called Mud Boys. MB Nail has close ties to another infamous Crip set in the area called Fly Boys, with most notable rappers Jay Black, who was the original face of their side before his unfortunate passing, and Bands, who's the current face, who pretty much dropped the most incriminating no-jumper interview ever.
Face? The trophy. Oh, on the other side, yeah.
What did I say?
2,900K.
What is it? What is the top?
Above that, it's got a W.
With what in it?
It's like a W with bullet holes.
How many?
3.
Okay. Nigga. They talking about
and was arrested shortly after for a wild murder. Originally, the Flyboys and EBK members from 2100 Nightingale were pretty close. The older members had a shared history, so at one point back in the day, these two sides were just one.
from Mariposa to HG, bro. Just break down a little history, brother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let my brother do it.
Well, basically, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah,
Papa Fly ain't here, cuz I'm gonna let Cuz do it.
Like I said,
Where
like
Papa Fly
Bro
at?
said, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, it was all one. We niggas be out there getting money, all this shit. You feel me? And then, like you said, like, you know, like how shit happens. Older niggas go to jail. You know, niggas disappear. The structure get lost. You feel me? So, and then that's when it just picks up from there. It could be anybody. It could be a little 14-year-old nigga. He done did this and that. Now he the one making the shots, and then he'll have all these niggas under him.
Really?
Yeah, like
It's actually like that. Like 14-year-old kid kills a couple people, and then all of a sudden everybody has to like answer to him.
Killed a couple people.
However, a 2021 shooting of a beloved Flyboys member who had ties to Nightingale would apparently launch an all-out war that would claim the lives of many. It would apparently kick off with the death of beloved member Jay Jonah on January 15, 2021. Stockton police responded to a report at 5:36 p.m. of Thursday shots fired in the area of the 7th Street and Nightingale Avenue. When officers arrived, they located a crime scene and learned a gunshot victim was transported to a hospital by a private party. The 20-year-old victim died a short time later at the hospital. This marked a major split within both groups as EBK J-Bo would go on to diss JJ on many records, most notably on the song Casualty with Lil Rai, where he'd say, Mr. Fly K, since 17, I've been on them niggas. Or mix J Jonah with the black, that's real Zaza. Yeah, it's safe to say if you're dissing like this, the smoke is too real and this is just more than rap. At the same time, that first bar kind of implicates that it had something to do with possibly the shooting with his dad or him finding out. While all of EBK's careers would go up sometime in the early 2020s, they would take a huge loss just the next year when their second biggest rapper, who was holding it down while EBK J-Bo was in jail, would die in a crazy shooting in a small city outside of Stockton, which we got to talk about in chapter 3, the death of Slowby. Slowly, we talk about how the Stockton rap scene was like a crab in a barrel mentality, saying anytime they had some good shit going, someone going to go and try to fuck it up. It's wild because just days before he died, he would drop one of his best songs, Don't Come to My Funeral, almost predicting his death, because just 2 days after shooting that, a tragedy would go down that many felt was another casualty of the war. On August 5th, 2022, officers have responded at 8:17 a.m. to 176 Trevino Ave on reports of a possible shooting at an apartment complex. Witnesses saw Slowby ambushed in his complex and started to bleed out on the ground. They also identified a black Mercedes sedan as the supposed culprit, but police have never been able to find the culprit. However, fast forward a year later, and a rising rapper from the Flyboys named Jake Black, who is slowly making a name for himself, become the next victim. And many people wondering if these two situations were related. However, in less than a year later, the trophy from Flyboys would meet a similar fate after making songs dissing the dead, which we'll get into in chapter 4. The death of Jay Black. Jay Black was a rapper associated with the Flyboys Crip set in South Stockton. And as I said before, they had numerous issues with members of EBK. Many felt that they had been responsible, especially because several members have died from there, such as Flyboy Lil Loss. This wouldn't stop Flyboy members from trolling EBK, even dropping songs dissing him, calling him Young Slow Feet. Keep in mind, too, MB Nell had close ties to the Flyboys, so this tied him into it, too. It's safe to say that they wanted people to think that it was their work, regardless if they did it or not. Unfortunately for their biggest rapper, though, Jay Black, this all caught up to him in the worst way possible, when he himself would be gunned down by several EBK members, one of which was a rapper close to EBK J-Bo named EBK Lil Play.
Deadly shooting 1 year ago. Derek Gordon was taken into custody in Las Vegas in connection with the deaths of Andrea Jones and Jacob Haywood Thomas. The pair were killed in March of last year near South Airport Way and 8th Street. Two others, 18-year-old Io Sawaya Satwa and 16-year-old boy, were already arrested in connection with the murder.
In March of 2023, J Black and 25-year-old Andrea Jones were posted up at a convenience store at 2100 South Airport around 6:30 p.m. when several masked men pulled up and shots rang out. Andrea was hit, and so was Jay Black, aka Jacob Hayward Thomas. Unfortunately, Jacob Hayward Thomas would not survive. Footage from the scene would show police trying to resuscitate him, but unfortunately, they would both die right there. Police had a crazy double murder on their hands, so they made sure to use all their resources to try to figure out. And in doing so, they would find a member of EBK responsible, which would end up just continuing this already crazy beef. To say that MB Nell had a crazy beef with EBK to worry about, and even beef with other Asian Crips. He would almost be killed in a crazy shooting incident with another Asian Crip where he was shot at over 22 times, as well as having many documented instances getting robbed or jumped in Stockton. But nothing would compare to what would go down yesterday in a mass shooting that killed literal multiple kids.
Officials investigating a deadly mass shooting, killing at least 4 people and injuring 10 others during a party in Stockton, California.
They have 4 victims. We might want to get some more resources.
Police say they received reports of shots fired around 6 p.m. Saturday at a banquet hall. First responders rushing to the scene where at least 14 people, including children, were shot and taken to local hospitals. Witnesses say they heard several rounds of gunshots.
There was 3 sets of gunfire. I wasn't really too concerned about it, but then the next 2 sets came, and then all of a sudden there was all these police are here.
Investigators say they believe this was a targeted incident and the suspect remains at large.
Our number one priority is ensuring that we find that suspect and hold them accountable.
The Central Valley community now reeling amidst the gun violence.
This is Thanksgiving weekend. This is when families come together, celebrate, share memories, give each other love.
The shooting occurred just before 6 p.m. in northern part of the city, according to the sheriff's office. The banquet hall, which shares a parking lot with several businesses, including a Dairy Queen, was hosting a family celebration that investigators were told was a birthday party for a young child, with over 100 to 150 people in attendance, Brent said. Stockton is about 40 miles south of Sacramento. Children and adults were among those shot, according to Heather Brent, a spokesperson for the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. Officials did not immediately release the conditions of those taken into the area hospitals. Early indications suggested this may have been a targeted incident. This is a very active and ongoing investigation. Information remains limited, she said, but she did say that those killed were ages 8, 9, 14, and 21. Unfortunately, this is probably the craziest story that I have ever covered in this channel, with multiple kids dying for this. So it's just nothing but prayers that we could give to this family and this community, because this is insane. And whoever is behind this is probably one of the craziest crash out people that I've ever seen, whether it be EBK, whether it be any of the other gangs in this type of situation, or anyone that was beefing with Fly Boys or anyone else, man. This is honestly crazy. But let me know your thoughts on this. Real safe.
Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, bye. This is a good one. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all, so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking, and I appreciate your support. I'm very humbled by it, right? So let's talk about the follow-up to the Stockton mass shooting. Man, it gets worse and worse, and look, I could have seen this one coming. Yesterday, an interview was conducted with MB Nell, the rapper who was allegedly shot in the leg, with his father, right? And his father, whoa, Nelly, had sure enough to say, right? He had a lot to say. And you know what? Now that you hear it, there's even more cowardice acts that were committed prior to this cowardice ass shooting. Now, we know what happened in Stockton. A little girl's birthday party was shot up by one or more individuals. Those suspects are still at large, but according to the detectives in the case, they do have several leads because, like I said, the streets don't be talking, the streets be telling, right? And a lot of people have a lot to say, and especially in a small, consolidated city like Stockton, people right now are upset. They're upset with gangs. They're upset with violence. They're even more so upset than anything because there was children that got murdered at this party at the hands of gang members, right? And all over a beef online between rappers going at it and gang members going at it. Words, man. Words speak volumes, right? Nowadays, words will get you hurt. In this case, MB Nell was shot. Another fellow rapper was shot. And even MB Nell's wife was shot in the buttocks like Forrest Gump, right? Now she has to fucking worry about getting a box of chocolates. It's upsetting, but what's even more upsetting than that is the fact that this man pulled up to that party knowing his life was in danger, knowing that there was people actively seeking his whereabouts and looking for him, and they got the drop on him, and boom, he was targeted. Now, this information is all leaking out from media, from big time media to social media, and we're putting it out there, right? Let me explain to you what his father had to say. His father, Lou, was, of course, interviewed, and he said that he has talked to MB Nell. MB Nell is all right. His daughter-in-law, who was shot in the ass during this altercation, is also okay, but they are scared for their lives. His son did call him on the phone and say, Dad, you know, I'm going to tell you guys right now, straight up, don't tell anyone I called you. I'm in fear of my life. He feels that it's going to be an ongoing situation. These guys have targeted him for death. And usually when that happens and people are willing to go to the extremes to go shoot you up at a child's birthday party, it's pretty damn serious. But here's the cowardice kicker of it, right? 2 years prior to this incident even happening, the gangster rapper MB Nell had moved out of the Stockton area due to death threats and people wanting to get on him, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. If you know that there's some shit going on right there, some shit brewing, you just created chaos, the best thing to do is get the hell on, right? If your life is taking a bad turn in that area, it's time to go. But if you continue to rep that area, if you continue to woof on songs about hurting people and their children, if you continue to disrespect the gang that you left 2 years ago when you moved to Sacramento, the Sacramento area, then what do you expect to happen? 2 years prior to this incident happening, his dad said that his house was shot up, and now him, MB Nell's father, and his mother fear for their lives because they believe that these people who did this, whoever did this, knows exactly where they live because they've shot that house up before. Okay, so it's a situation where his big mouth got him in big trouble, straight up. And people are fucking tired of these gangs. They're tired of every time they go outside, there's shootings. They can't take their kids to birthday parties, can't take your kids to the mall, can't take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese, can't take your kids to get a car wash. Because at the end of the day, you have to worry about two Edgars confronting each other and shooting at each other. Now, in this situation, this dude MB Nell is pretty known in the Stockton area to be a violent gang member or part of a violent gang. I'm not going to necessarily put it on him and say that he's violent, but he's pretty much well known to be from a gang, and there's a lot of disrespect goes on. If you notice, a lot of these Stockton rappers, Sacramento rappers, Merced rappers, I'm not going to just target fucking people. That's not what I do. But rappers in general nowadays, these gangster rappers, the time has changed. See, back in the days, we knew Ice Cube wasn't going to step on a cockroach. We knew Dr. Dre didn't even do shit on Dre Day. We knew Easy wasn't that E, okay? We knew Ran. We knew all these things. Hey, we listened to the gangster music because of the beat, because of the flow, because we could identify with the lifestyle. But at the end of the day, we knew not one of these dudes, not one I just said right now, including Ice-T, was going to kill each other, okay? They weren't, when they dissed each other, the Wild Wild West, Kumo D and Big Daddy Kane didn't talk about killing each other. They talked about killing each other on the mic, right? But these rappers nowadays do not separate rap music from the streets. They don't know how to do that. And I know there's a lot of little wannabe gang members that are going to say, well, that's real shit. Now that's real stupid shit, okay? The stupidness in all this is innocent babies were hurt. That's the stupidness. The stupidness is that this dude, MB Nell, knowing that people were actively seeking his whereabouts, that were actively looking aggressively for him, if he was scared enough to get on and move to the Sacramento area 2 years ago, according to his father, his own father, right? Then you obviously know what time it is. You know, he should have never pulled up. Now, according to what I'm hearing, it was his friend's daughter's, 6-year-old daughter's birthday party, and he just was there to give a present, right? Whatever the case may be, they were waiting on his ass because if he was just in and out to give a present in that inn, they outburgered him, right? He got that double-double. And in the midst of that, he gets shot. Now he's put his wife in jeopardy. She pulled up with him. She gets shot in the ass. Imagine how she feels right now. She can't sit, BBL blown out. And she feels like, wow, being with this guy is real life. Now, I know a lot of women and even men, man, they crave and they seek that gangster lifestyle. But I'm here to tell you guys right now, it ain't as pretty crimson and clover and roses and daisies as you think it is. It gets real out there in them streets. When you're online disrespecting people, when you're putting lyrics in a rap song disrespecting their dead homies or talking about what you're going to do, you know, hey, you can reap what you sow. You make your bed, you're going to lay in it. When you're out there making rap songs with lyrics like, if I see you, I'm smacking you on sight. I don't care if you're with your children. I don't care if you're with your mama. We up in polls around here. This is real life gangster shit. Meanwhile, you're not even in the area. You're in the Sacramento area hiding out because you've already told your father, and your father knows that you're scared to be in the area because people want to get you. But you continue to make rap music and bait these individuals. Look, I know people are going to say, well, hey, he got what he had coming. In a sense, yes. If you speak it to existence, it comes, right? But at the same time, like I said in my video yesterday, there's a time and a place for everything, and you got to learn how to read, right? You got to read the room. If it's a children's birthday party, you know that's where he's going to be lacking. That's where he's going to pull up. You already got to have the integrity, the morals, the respect to know, and just the wherewithal to know, man, that's a kid's birthday party. There's going to be several children in attendance. I ain't going to take it there. And it's not because I don't want to catch this motherfucker. I really want to get him because he dissed the dead homies. He dissed the avenue. He dissed the block. He dissed the set. Listen to me and think to yourself what I'm talking about. Who cares? Look, at the dead homies ain't tripping. They're gone already. Okay, let them rest. They're gone. There's nothing that this guy can do anymore to hurt them. Okay, the block is going to be the block tomorrow, whether there's blood on it or not. The city is always going to be the biddy, right? That's just how that is. You know what I'm saying? If your old lady's fat, let her be fat. If he said it, he just told the truth. When it comes to disrespecting and disses, half the time the shoe fits. Who cares? It's just words. It's just one person usually envious of the other person or hating on the other person, and let them spew that hatred, and you keep it pushing, and you keep that money generating, and you keep building on your success, compiling your success. And guess what happens? They stay bitter and you get better. And that's just how that is. I know, because I live that every day. Instead of going back and forth and disrespecting, to which I did before, I realized, I learned, I woke up one day, got up off that pillow and said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done feeding into the bullshit and the negativity, because at the end of the day, what's going to happen? One person's not going to be able to adjust to it. They're not going to be feeling it, and they could do something that they don't really want to do, but they want to show everyone they will, right? And then the retaliation is a must. Speaking of that, the Stockton streets are on fire right now. There's actually people literally putting out videos saying, oh, they're already in retaliation mode. There's already been shootings. There's already been things because of this. Stop your telling ass ways. Look, whatever's going on in the city of Stockton right now, we need to be more concerned with the citizens and the burial of those children. Worry about bringing resources to those families that might not have them to bury their children, or reach out, man, to see what's going on with the vigils for these children. There should be a public outcry to say, you know what? These gang members need to stop, especially in certain areas. Just stop already. Your rap music, the way you're acting, the way you're walking around, children can't ride bikes. And I know a lot of people say, oh, the children can't go out there anymore because you got all this fucking weird shit. They're getting kidnapped and all that. But even worse than that is gang members with guns. You don't never know if your kid's going to come back and get hit with a bullet. But it's getting worse. See, as parents, we don't want to let our children outside because we're concerned with their safety. But now you can't go to the mall. You can't go to the movies. Can't go to Baskin Robbins and try 32 flavors, right? Even though there's only 31, you're always hoping there's 32. You can't pour a fucking bowl of Captain Crunch in the morning without worrying about if a stray bullet's going to come through your door, because two little knack-ass J-cats are arguing over whose block is better. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, everything's fucked up. There ain't no blocks better. A block is just a block and you live on it. But you could also die on it. And that's what's happening now. You got the mall shooting in San Jose. You got several shootings in Stockton. Like, the shit's not going to stop. And there's people that are in my comments, oh, that's just an everyday thing in Stockton. What's the big deal? The big deal is people are concerned and tired of it. The big deal is children are getting slaughtered and massacred. I had one guy, he had the audacity to say, oh, man, you didn't say nothing about the Goshen massacre. Yes, I did. This is not the first time that children have been victimized and killed by gang members. Okay, it's not the first time, and it's probably not the last, unfortunately. You know, oh, you always speak on the 90s era. You guys had more respect and you didn't do it like that. Those of us that played that gangster shit. And we understood there was rules and regulations to them streets. And women, children, elderly, and civilians were off limits. If you chose to go that route, you can't, hey, look it, you can't fucking worry about everyone. You can't play God to everyone. If some fucking idiot that wants to earn his stripes and prove himself that bad does something to a child, man, that's on him. He's going to have to live with that every day of his life, and he's going to have to deal with that. Okay, so yes, there was things that happened in the 90s, but not as frequently as what's happening now. You didn't have people just walking up in schools, just letting loose. You didn't have people walking in movie theaters, letting loose, bombing shit in the streets, shooting people from roof. It wasn't like that. It was more gangster shit, pulling up on the opposition, the enemigos is what we call them, and airing it out. No drive-bys. Those ceased a long time ago, right? Now, I know that Goshen Massacre thing where those two Northerners or ex-Northerners or whatever they are, I don't know their standings at this point. I'm sure one of them told on the other one, but I'm sure these guys are not going to be embraced in the best of standings because they murdered a child unnecessarily. They already went in. The victim that they intended to get was not there. So what they do, they off this whole family. That is not gangster shit. That is a cowardice act as well. You're not a gangster if you pull a trigger. Okay? You walk up and use these. Show people, man, that you can handle your business with this, and that. And that's it. And this more so than anything. This is what got you in trouble in the first place. This right here is what can get you in more trouble. This is the only thing that can get you out of it. Your mind. Now, how do you think MB Nell feels? There's all these people so concerned with how's his leg, how's his wife's ass. I don't care how is that wife's ass look unless it looks big and I want to take a peek. As far as his leg goes, he'll be all right, right? But now he has to live with the conscience. He has to live knowing. Not only does he have to live in hiding because, according to his father, when he did make the phone call to let his father know that he was all right, he was very concerned. He didn't even want his father to know where he was at. He is in hiding. So there was some people there that pulled up that petrified him, terrified him. He's scared, okay? He knows that they're coming and they're playing for keeps. He knows that things that he said or things that he's done, even more so, right, have finally caught up to him. Now you have this group or gang or whoever, whatever individuals conspire to do this horrendous act, right? Now they've lost the homeboy. You know, they're going to lose homeboys for this because they will be caught, right? Their hood didn't get who they wanted. Yeah, they shot him, but they didn't get him, right? The way they wanted to. So now they understand that the retaliation is probably in the works. It might be coming according to all these other content creators that say, oh, they're already lighting the streets up. Yes, the streets are going to be hot for a while, but they're also going to be hot with ATF, with feds, with cops, because these type of moves right here, killing innocent children, mass shootings, going into birthday parties and letting loose with automatic weapons and things of that nature, that only brings the attention of law enforcement. So yes, the streets are going to be hot with gang members wanting to retaliate or people trying to get the upper hand. But Stockton's always been like that. And look, one guy got, hey man, it was only a few people. You're speaking for the whole of Stockton. I'm not speaking for Stockton. I'm speaking at Stockton and saying, hey man, rise up against the oppression of not being able to take your children out to do their thing because you're too scared. Because we're all going through it. You know, I'm not going to sit here and poison people against gangs, but I'm going to say gangs are fucking acting out right now. This is a time where this younger generation just don't give a shit. They're EBK every day, all day to the day they die. And it happens more often than others. You know, the age right now, you're not living to the age of 24, 25. And it's all because of this. And social media and the internet makes it easier and accessible to find out a person's address or to pull up on somebody. You know, someone had to let these guys know that MB Nell was going to pull up, him and the other rapper, Fly Doughboy, whatever his name, Fly Dough, that they were going to, Flyboy Dough or whatever, they were going to pull up, and these guys were lying in wait. It's a cut and dry situation. They knew he was coming. Okay? To what degree of knowing? The whole degree. 100 degrees, 114 degrees, gang, right? They knew exactly what was going to happen, and it happened. But those poor innocent children, those innocent parents, the people that were in attendance that were not gang related, that had nothing to do with anything, they're the ones who suffered more. They're the ones who lost babies. You can't get kids back, man. You can't get nobody back. Even them shooting this guy over whatever he did is not worth it. Because now they've lost their lives, their families are affected, all the victims' families are affected, the community's obviously affected because you're hearing the outcry from the community of Stockton that are saying enough is enough. They're tired, man. You know, when gangs were created and formed, they were for because people were being oppressed in neighborhoods. You know, I can speak on the Mexican part of it. I can't speak on the Brothers, man, or the Woods, or any of that, the Asians. But I can say, and I understand the Asians are similar to the Mexican. When Asians came from Vietnam, the Hmongs, the Laotians, the Laos, the Cambodians, they were being oppressed by gang members in the state of California that were pushing up on them because they were immigrants, right? So they came together for power, and these gangs were created. And look, you know, all it takes is one bad apple. Every agenda that a gang is the foundation is on, it's not that anymore. Now it's a whole bunch of tattoos on faces and people running around with guns weighing more than they do, and skinny tight ass pants, and just shooting everything moving all over a rap diss, or someone fucking disrespecting their moms, or whatever it is. It's foolishness, and it's chaotic. And at the end of that rainbow, guess what happens? There's no pot of gold. There's dead kids. This is just a vicious cycle that continues to happen. It's not only in Stockton, but this is just the latest one, not the greatest one, right? And I'll say this about Stockton, man. Stockton has always been a dangerous city if you're in the gang, if you're in that lifestyle, that criminal lifestyle. Other than that, people go on about their everyday lives. Not every single fucking grain of sand in Stockton is bad, but there's a lot of bad people walking on that sand, turning it into mud. I got too much game, man. No added preservatives. I'm going to give you the knowledge you can't get in college. Check the wordplay, right? So MB Nell was scared. Okay, just to repeat it one more time. 2 years prior, according to his father. You know what? I should read the article to you. I'm going to do that so that way you know I'm not just talking gibberish and not speaking facts. I'm going to read the article, and it's going to let you guys know right now what's going on, because I want to make sure that you – can you hear me now? Right? So, let me see. Let me find it. Here it is. Rapper targeted in Stockton mass shooting is hiding out, fearing for his life after being shot at little girl's birthday party, his father says. A Stockton rapper targeted in the deadly birthday party mass shooting that left 3 kids dead is hiding out and fearing for his life after he and his wife were both wounded, his dad says. Rapper MB Nell was among the 15 shot at a birthday party of a friend's 2-year-old daughter inside Monkey Space, a banquet hall in Stockton, California on Saturday evening, his father, Junior Dongan, says, right? Let's see. MB Nell, real name Janelle Dongan, had previously fled Stockton, was living outside Sacramento. He had returned to the crime-ridden city of 300,000 people to meet his rapper pals at the birthday party, his dad said. Oh, wait, right? He came just to drop a present off at his friend's party, whose daughter was the celebrant, Junior said. But he was shot, but he is okay. He called me and said, don't say anything to anybody, he continued. The Stockton-based rapper moved out of the area 2 years ago because he feared for his safety, including an incident where thugs shot 22 bullets at his parents' house a few years ago, Dongan recalled. He says, my daughter-in-law was hit in the butt. We are worried. I'm worried about my wife, but I can't do anything about it. 3 children and 1 adult were killed in the shooting, which Stockton Mayor Chris Fugazi said was gang-related. That fool was up out of there. Dad, don't tell anyone where I was at. So he was already in hiding. He had already pushed because they shot up his parents' pad, right? And so now he knows that people want his head. And why do they want your head? Because of things you've done or said. But he continued to drop songs, acting hard and upping polls. And in the end, innocent babies are now dead and people are mourning. The city of Stockton, rise up, man. I appreciate you guys.
Kofi, follow me.